It's either going to go incredibly well or incredibly not well, I'll say.
Roll the dice.
All right. Well, XSplit says we're live, and YouTube says we're maybe live. There we are. Boy, I look terrible. I look terrible with a whole bunch of MPEG compression over my face.
Right. Just the way God intended.
That's right. That's an XKCD comic there. Can you make yourself look blockier? That's a terrible joke. Welcome to Talking Heads, episode 46. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rhett.
All right, so we're finally getting closer to an explanation on why my streams have been so horribly bad lately. Basically, I've had techs out to my house once a week for almost the past 2 months, and last time the tech came out, he goes, well, I uploaded for like 15 minutes and I didn't find a problem. Well, he was pinging for 15 minutes and he didn't drop a ping over 15 minutes. When I try to send a jumbo frame, though, I'm dropping one in every 5.
Yeah.
Which is what happens when you actually stream video and actual data, actual chunks of data, not just 32-byte packets.
You think if you would have explained to him what you did,
right,
that he would have thought of that while he was here?
Yeah, he wasn't here when I was here this last time. He goes, yeah, I sat at your box and I was able to ping no problem. And I went, did you ping with like 1,000 bytes or 5,000 bytes? Well, no, why would I do that? Never mind. So, we're not even trying tonight. I'm literally going at 1.3 megabit, 720p, 30 frames per second. If this doesn't hold, nothing will. There's literally no lower quality stream that I can do and still make a stream. But so far it seems to be holding. I've dropped 0 frames in the first 2 minutes. So there we go. Welcome to the show, everyone.
We're making headway.
That's right. How you doing, Rhett?
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent. Got a haircut, I see.
I did, yeah. Fresh yesterday morning.
Nice.
Yeah, beard trim too. I decided enough tugging on it. People were calling me out after the last stream for tugging on my beard too much. So
I flick my mustache.
Yeah,
I do that a lot.
Oh yeah.
So I try to stop. I really do.
It's so hard.
It's a habit. It's a habit from drinking beer.
Yes.
You take a drink, you set it down, and you go like this to wipe the head off your mustache. And yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, went for the full package. The haircut, I went extra short, so I don't have to go back in for hopefully several months.
That's usually my theory. Is I try to go 3 months between.
Yeah, me too. So but plus with PAX coming up around the corner, wanted to look sharp. So
yep,
it's kind of a twofer.
Looks good so far. Just the artifacts that is. Haha.
Thanks, Dad.
They are throttling you. They're not throttling me. What's happening is I'm dropping jumbo frames. Normal data works just fine, and any TCP-based data, so a two-way handshake that it verifies all the packets get there, is working just fine. When I do a UDP jumbo upload, and I know I'm getting a little technical there, when I send larger than normal packets and I'm just slinging them and there's no response from the server that, yes, we actually got them, so there's no, oh, well, you didn't get them, let me resend them, that's what I'm dropping, which happens to be a UDP stream that I send to YouTube. So it's affecting pretty much my live streaming only. My download still works great. I'm getting 700 megabit download most of the time.
But what is it that happened between a few months ago and now?
Well, it's cable internet. It's not DSL or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It's second best home internet you can get next to fiber. I don't have fiber. I don't know that we're even a fiber backbone going the 4 miles back to the main headquarters. We're all copper all the way out here. So it's not a terrible connection, and it is 1 gigabit. I do get close to gigabit when it's working well, and only a 30 megabit upload for some reason, and I even pay extra for that. Normal is 10.
Jeez.
So yeah, they have a piece of hardware that's shit canning your jumbo frames. You'll let the network critter. Yeah, I actually did find a dying switch in their data center one. This was multiple years ago, but I tracked it all the way down and I gave them the IP address of the switch that was failing.
God.
No. It's this. It's not your sub hub. It's the one that I'm connecting to upstream. Right before you leave and go to. I'm not going to give away their routing table, but the next hop in your routing table before you hit Seattle, that it's dropping between that handoff. And they went, oh, how do you? I said, I do this thing for a living. They, oh, well, there it is. Yeah, and they switched me circuits, and I was good ever since.
God.
So, yeah, eventually, hopefully we'll get this all figured out. We've kind of eliminated cabling, at least on my end, and the node down on my end, so maybe it's a problem back in their data center again. I don't know. I need a beer, though. I would really like a beer.
Please.
And, do we have something special tonight?
Yes, we do. I was super excited when I saw these.
So, over the weekend, I built a computer for my wife's cousin. He bought all the parts, brought it over here, and I helped him put the whole thing together. I was planning on doing a video of it, but we got about 80% of the way through the process, and I went, I just don't have enough video to do this, other than like, hey, I'm building a computer, and then building a computer, and hey, here's some sexy B-roll. I didn't have time to benchmark it.
Yeah.
I didn't do a good enough job filming it during the assembly, and so it's like, okay, this is like a 3-minute video where I just like B-roll across some parts, and then, hey, look how well that turned out.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it turned out freaking fantastic.
Nice.
But to say thank you for helping, he brought me a couple really special beers.
Absolutely.
These are imported from Japan. And we did our best to get some translation off of them.
Yeah.
Really all we can determine is where they're from and what they're called. And what they're called is in English. So,
yeah.
So we have Tokyo Black, which is actually a Japanese porter. And it is, I don't remember the ABV, 5% ABV. So a decent weight porter.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this is a Yana Ale from Nagano, Japan. And it is a 5.5%.
Excellent.
So, because these are only 12 ounce, because I only have one of each, we're going to do some little tasters. So, which one do you want to do first?
The porter.
Good man. The D, $5.
Well, I'm just really excited about
this. Hey guys,
this.
sorry, or $5 Canadian.
I'm just really excited about that little dude on the can right there, if you look at it on the other.
That is a pretty cool little dude. Let me see if my... Hey, there we go. You got to see the little dude on the side here.
There you go. He looks like he's getting ready to sumo.
That's right. You got to stretch those hammies, man.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Ooh,
got to limber
color.
up.
Good color.
That looks delish.
All right. We might get a couple pours out of this, too.
That might be great.
There we go.
Ah. Excellent.
Good smell to it. I can smell it all the way from here.
Kampai.
Bye.
Cheers, and hey, thanks so much, the D.
The D, $5 Canadian. Hey guys, sorry
Here's
I'm late.
To you.
You're not late. You're only you're 8 minutes late, I guess.
You ain't late. You're right on time, buddy.
That's right.
We're just cracked open the beers. You didn't want to see us talking all that other stuff. Life got you down, you know.
Ooh,
I like that. That's crisp.
that is very crisp. That's an interesting flavor. It's crisp, but it has some weight to the mouthfeel, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Where it's definitely not a nice, refreshing drink, but it's a little heavier than you might expect a crisp drink like this to be. It's kind of a weird combination.
It's almost got like, we've talked about this in porters before, but almost that like cola nut type taste.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yes.
I approve this.
Very good.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Dusty.
Thanks, Dusty.
Dustin. He's actually on the Discord, too.
Yeah, I know. So, I saw that when you guys were building it. I saw some of the pictures.
And by the way, that system did turn out freaking sweet.
Nice.
It was a Ryzen 7 1700X. He's been buying the parts for almost a year, basically like since December. I think he started buying parts. But Ryzen 7 1700X, 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance 3200. It was an Asus ROG X370 motherboard, 250 gig NVMe Samsung 970,
nice,
a pair of 500 gigs Samsung 860 EVO SSD, SATA SSDs. Let's see, what else did he have? He got a EVGA 1080 Ti for the Win 3. And I'll put that all in a Fractal Meshify C, and EVGA 850 G3 power supply with cable mod cable, so everything is just crisp. Oh, and a Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro for a CPU cooler.
Sweet.
Freaking
man,
sweet.
now I know why he's buying parts
quiet.
for a year.
Yeah. Freaking sweet, freaking quiet. All Be Quiet fans. That thing was whisper quiet under full load. It was a thing of beauty, and the cable management was amazing.
Nice.
So, but yeah, Reverend says, what's everyone else drinking tonight? I'd love to know. We got a Kildy splurged a little bit on his unemployment budget, bought a Fat Tire.
I love Fat Tire. It's so good. It was like one of the first, craft beers that I really got to enjoy when I came of age.
Wesley wants to know if I have an RS Surfboard 6190. I believe that is the cable modem that I have. I know it's not my internal network. I've got a... we've completely eliminated that. I've got a Unify USG for my security gateway. And then all decent gigabit switches top to bottom. So.
Smart.
Let's see. Do I have a picture or two for the hardware porn? I do. I don't have them loaded right now. If you were on my Discord, you got a couple of them.
Yeah, that's some patron content over there,
That's right. Only coffee here. Nothing wrong with coffee. Like some coffee. We got a Duet IPA from Alpine Beer.
Sweet.
Very cool. Toufflé Passion Fruit Beer from Archibald Brewery.
Sounds good.
Yeah. See, I think I have a passion fruit saison out in the garage. So, Wild Rose IPA, Alberta, Canada. Very
Cheers.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get into some, we'll say regional and local news. Because we can claim them as our own now.
Yeah, we can. That's right. This is not every day
Flip me over there.
I would love to.
All right. So, we'll start with the regional news. And that is In-N-Out. Had a little back and forth this last week, and we've seen this play out with Sony before, and some other places with trademark infringement, especially when it comes to beer, because beer breweries and especially the small independent breweries tend to be a little bit cheeky and very blatant with their trademark disregarding.
They do, yeah.
So in this case, you can see the picture at the bottom of your screen there. There's a brewery called Seven Stills. They made a barrel-aged Neapolitan milkshake stout, and they named it the In and Stout. Now, if you look at this, that's just the In-N-Out logo. It's the palm trees. It's the styrofoam cup. It's the drive-in arrow. It's everything about that is In-N-Out. There's no question that's trademark infringement.
Oh, absolutely.
So, the cool part of this is In-N-Out's response to it. They got very, very punny with their response. And some people say there's no lower grade of humor than puns. I think if puns are done right, they're among the top.
It might be a low grade of humor, but it's the same thing with like physical or slapstick. Like we all still laugh at Chris Farley when he hits the ground in SNL back in the day.
Oh,
It's still rich. It doesn't matter.
Here's you. Here's Matt. There's you. Well, Matt's gonna be your shadow.
I love Chris Farley.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's unique about this situation is not that Seven Stills infringed trademarks from In-N-Out Burger. It was their response. And the response reads, Dear Seven Stills Brewery and Distillery, we here at In-N-Out received multiple reports of your In and Stout beer featured on your social media pages. The In and Stout beer label features In-N-Out trademarks, including our palm tree and arrow logos, along with a substantial similarity to In-N-Out's own brand name. Based on the use of our marks, we felt obligated to hop to action in order to prevent further issues from brewing. In case you're not already aware, In-N-Out owns multiple trademark registrations in these marks. As you may expect, we tap a lot of effort in protecting our marks, which includes limiting their use by others. Please understand the use of our marks by third parties ails us to the extent that this could cause confusion in the marketplace or prevent us from protecting our marks in the future. We hope you can appreciate, however, that we are attempting to clearly distill our rights by crafting an amicable approach with you, rather than barrel through this. Accordingly, we request that you refrain from further use of In-N-Out's marks by not selling or promoting items featuring our marks and removing images of In and Stout and any other items featuring our marks from your website and social media pages. Please contact us as soon as possible so this does not continue to ferment. Thank you for your good time and consideration. We look forward to resolving this in good spirits.
I love it. I love it.
That is how you send a C&D.
That's like how if you got that, I would just be like, "Oh, absolute." I would call him right away, and be like, "Yeah, no, we're taking it down.
Right?
No, you have a great day."
Yeah.
This is just good business.
Right.
I just love that, like, sort of friendly kind of...
Right. We get what you're doing.
Right.
You should have called us first. We have to put our foot down because we have to protect this.
Right. And I love the way that they say that, too. They're very clear. It's like, look, we love the spirit of this, but, like, if we don't do something, it could mess us up in the future.
Right. I forgot to start my timer.
Yeah. I was going to mention something, but you figured it out.
I did. There we go.
So, what a great team player. Not even a team player.
A great back and forth. And I will say, when it comes to trademark infringement, there was... Nintendo is one of the most heavy-handed going after even like console streamers.
Yeah, we were talking about this last time.
We were talking about this last time, and it came up on my on one of my videos this week. I did a review of a capture card, and I posted it. What was that? Yesterday morning. Yeah. So I posted a review for an HDMI capture card, and one of the advertising points of it is, hey, you can stream your console, you can get a lag-free output. The only modern console I have is a Switch. And so I recorded some Breath of the Wild on there, and I put it as part of the video. And to tell you how far Nintendo has overstepped their bounds with protecting their trademark and their marks, I got a couple of comments that said you need to be careful about putting Nintendo content on your YouTube channel because they'll take you down. And it's like, no. This is 100% covered under fair use.
Yeah.
I'm the media reporting on a device used to broadcast that media.
Yeah.
I'm not using and I was very specific on not using their advertising even in my thumbnails.
Yeah.
Nor is that I don't have any tags. I don't have any search queries for anything Nintendo in there. But I am allowed to broadcast Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
So
soon we won't be allowed to talk about it.
Right. So you've got the anti-trademark, literally shut everything down because we're the only ones who can control our message.
Yeah.
Versus In-N-Out, which takes we get what you're doing, it's funny, but you guys need to stop.
Yeah.
And that's the correct way to handle it.
I think so.
Plus, they both got some good advertising out of it.
I think, absolutely. Look at us. We're talking about it.
We're talking about it
This
now.
Right here has 29 comments on this page. And who comments on news pages like this?
Right.
So that says something.
Yep. So also in In-N-Out news, and here's where it becomes local, they're opening an In-N-Out like 4 miles from my house.
Yeah, this is great. I'm super stoked on this.
Oregon is getting its third In-N-Out. There's already one in Medford and there's one in Grants Pass. Is that correct? Or is there just the one in Medford?
Well, according to Steve, there's one in Grants Pass.
I know there's at least one. I think there's possibly two. So In-N-Out recently branched into Oregon about a year ago. And there's always been talk about, are they going to come further north? Are they going to start going for the Portland metro area? Which I'm not in the Portland metro area. I'm a good 40 minutes outside of it. But In-N-Out past Eugene, Medford, Corvallis, all the little towns in between, and they're landing right here in Kaiser, Oregon.
Yeah.
And Kaiser, for those who don't know, is kind of like Salem Light.
Yeah.
You'll drive from one to the other and never even know.
Yeah, pretty much. The signs change color. That's
right, the signs change color, and that's it. And there's a lot more cops around.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
So we're getting an In-N-Out burger literally 4 miles from my house, and I could not be more excited about that.
It's so cool, yeah. I'm not going to... I don't want to pretend that I'm a huge In-N-Out fan, because I'm not. So many people went out of their way to, drive all the way down to Medford from where we are.
Yeah. I'm not that hardcore.
I'm not that hardcore either. Yeah. I'll hit it on my way.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? But I am excited about this. Mm-hmm. We'll see what it means for lines, because people are all about that, kind of... Mm-hmm. They're all about In-N-Out. So, and where it's getting put is like that new shopping center mm-hmm. I say new. At this point, it's like 10 years old. But
yep.
I think it's kind of an interesting choice to put it in there. But that place has really taken off over there.
Yes.
They've got a really good presence, and just driving through, you have really good visibility.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, Kaiser has a shopping mall that opened probably about 5 years ago, something like that.
I think it was earlier than that, but basically...
Within the last decade. I know it's within the last decade.
I think that they started putting stores in there, but it was kind of not necessarily a shopping mall.
Well, what happened
like,
is a Lowe's and a Target moved in, and they own pretty much that entire complex.
Yeah.
And then they get to decide who else gets to be in there.
Yeah.
And there's your standards. There's a Ross. There's a Michaels. There's a couple other. There's a Guitar Center.
Yeah.
Things like that.
That's when I thought that Kaiser Station really opened, was when the Guitar Center went in there, because that was like one of the first other big stores other than that, Lowe's and Target.
Exactly.
Of course, there was like a World Market there for a while, but
Yep.
But now, man, they got everything. There's a health center there.
Yep. They're putting in a hotel right there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So.
Have you ever eaten at that beer garden there?
I have.
Is it any good?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, cool.
Gustav's.
Yeah, Gustav's.
Yeah,
right.
it is pretty solid.
I know that there's a Gustav's up in Portland, of course, but
Yep.
Cool.
So yeah, In-N-Out coming to Kaiser, Oregon.
Pretty cool.
Woo-woo.
Look forward to it.
We might do an opening broadcast from there.
That'd be cool.
That might be fun. All right. There we go. So, next in the news is Harley Davidson is celebrating 115 years of motorcycle making.
Yep.
And they are unleashing a special craft beer for their anniversary.
Pretty cool.
So it's going to be a collaborative beer with Third Space Brewing and what was the other one? I remember Third Space. Good City Brewing. Good City, Third Space, and Milwaukee Brewing Companies.
Oh, nice.
And they're a blend of Wisconsin malts and all roasted in Milwaukee. So
Cool.
A very, very good local flair for Harley Davidson. Just kind of a cool... I love these kind of collaborations.
I do too. And it's fun because it kind of blends two cultures. I mean... I don't know, you're definitely not supposed to drink and ride your motorcycle or anything, but one of the beauties of going out for a long cruise or a long ride or going on a tour somewhere is you stop at the local breweries and you have yourself a sample of what's local. And it's I think, one of the appeals of kind of the motorcycle culture to me.
Right. So, or you drive the cross-country trek to Sturgis and you hit every bar along the way.
Right, absolutely.
There's those kind of things too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think this is great.
Yep.
I'm not going to pretend I'm a huge Harley Davidson fan. I'm not. But you can't deny that they're like a piece of Americana.
Right.
And that they have like a huge, extensive history in something that I really love, which is motorcycles. So, and they were pioneers. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Harley Davidson coming out with a collaborative craft beer. It'll be available... it's going to be a lager. You'll be able to find the 115th anniversary beer in bars and restaurants, as well as 16-ounce cans in some retail locations around the Milwaukee area starting this Thursday.
This Thursday,
so
excellent.
Tomorrow they will be officially for sale.
Cool. Cheers, Harley Davidson.
Cheers. All right. We've got one more beer to open.
Yes, we do. Shall we?
Shall we? Okay. Hi, take that.
Oh, thanks.
There you go. I got lots of space over here. All right. So this is the what was the Yona Yona? Yeah, Yona Yona Japanese Pale. It's 5.5%.
One of the famous landmarks in Japan is their brewery, and people say it looks like a big poop in the sky.
Smell right here. Can you smell it already?
No,
I smell it already.
My nostrils are a little.
Oh, you're all plugged up.
Yeah, well, we're living in the wildfire smoke right now.
God,
so.
it's smoky right now. Yeah.
Oh, that's clean.
Yeah. Very orangey.
Yeah,
right
I can smell
bat.
that now. That I think I was getting hints of it, but I was like, huh.
Yeah.
That's delicious smelling.
Yeah. Literally, I'm pouring the can out in front of me, and I'm getting this just like orange zest.
Cheers again.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers to you all.
Cheers, everyone.
That is a unique pale.
Oh, yeah.
That is a unique pale.
Ooh.
Super crisp.
Hey, you guys, knock it off.
Producer's in right now.
Yeah.
Ruby the producer.
Ruby, stop it. Ruby, don't you talk back to me. Don't you talk back to me.
Should really tell you the state of our show that we have a dog as a producer.
So
What is your studio run by animals?
Yeah.
Why, yes, it is.
So I will correct my dog, and she will respond by literally.
So cute.
Ruby, You see? Yeah, no. I just asked you to stop playing. That's all I said. That's all I said.
Look how happy she is.
I know.
I love it.
She's like a teenager. She stands there and argues with me.
Right, I know.
It's hilarious. All right. But no, that's a fantastic beer.
This is delicious. Yeah, a little less like citrus hints. Like it's more in the smell and the fragrance. When you drink it, this is just super smooth.
Yeah.
Not a lot of hoppiness. I wonder what they do. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking Japanese beer, but like I wonder.
It drinks more like a lager than it does a pale. I'll say just as far as it's not very hop forward. You can taste the hops.
You can. It's definitely like about the only thing that is pale ale about this is that it's a little bit more like herbal.
Right. There's a little bit of a grassy note that I'm getting to it. But none of the flavors are real intense. Like I said, most of that intenseness is right on the nose with that orange.
That's really good. I could drink a bunch of these.
Yes.
It tastes. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's been a while since I've had Japanese beer, but other than like Sapporo or.
I'm a fan of that.
Oh yeah, this is good.
So Seaworld is putting more than 100 beers on tap to keep you at Seaworld longer. Actually, it's just for their new craft beer festival. They're opening up.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
They're just like, get sprayed with water while you're drunk.
So running over 2 weekends, November 3rd through 11th, the festival opens when the park does at 9 a.m. Single day tickets start at $80, and there are numerous package deals online. So they will have over 100 craft beers, and every day in September, you get a pass to get to the Fiesta Aquata, which is the Latin-inspired party for their Aquata Park.
It's kind of cool.
Latin beers every day. Weekends bring DJs and energetic entertainers on Aquatica's beaches. Special menus include pinchos with pigeon peas, arepas, empanadas, etc., fish tacos, snow cones with Latin flavors.
And sangria. Nice.
And sangria, that's right.
Drank a lot of sangria in Latin America.
So yes, SeaWorld holding a craft brew festival.
It's kind of interesting.
In the near
what does the
future.
ticket get you? Does it say? Just entrance?
It just says entrance is about $80.
Why is it that
what's
they
on the
get away
menu?
charging so much?
With craft beer as the star, food items have been paired with a diverse beer offering. Expect buffalo burgers, quesadillas, fish and chips, and beer brats.
Cool.
The park has not announced a full beer lineup. Plans are to feature more than 100 beers. Sampling lanyards can bring a selection down to $4 to $6 each, though prices haven't been announced.
Well, good for them. I think that's a cool use of their space.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to knock them for that.
No.
This is cool.
I'd go there on a Tuesday for a craft beer fest.
Right? And I just asked a second ago, I was like, how do they get away charging so much? But again, they are in SeaWorld, so yeah, why not?
Right. I mean, 20 years ago, it was $50 to get into Disney Park or Disneyland just to enter the park, let alone the $30 for each meal that you'd spend. And
yeah.
So.
All right, cool. I approve.
So no, I think $80 for getting in. Although it kind of takes, depending on the crowd that you go to beer festivals with, it kind of takes the family aspect out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Mm-hmm. I try not to get too blitzed at beer festivals, but
sometimes you can't help it.
Things happen, especially if I'm there all day.
Yeah. What else are you supposed to do at a beer festival?
That's right.
Just hang out.
All right, on to some tech news.
Yeah, this is exciting.
So,
kind of exciting, I guess.
So, Steam has launched a Twitch rival in Steam.tv. Now, this was actually leaked late last week and then quickly retracted.
Yep.
But it was the writing was pretty much on the wall.
Yep.
For what this was going to be. There's a couple of features, though, that aren't really being talked about. And that's if you join the general Twitch chat. Let's say I'm going to watch a League of Legends tournament on Twitch.
Sure.
And I want to chat. There's no chatting in that chat. If you've got 50,000 people watching, there's no chatting.
Yeah,
there's
just blitzing
There's
by.
just people blitzing things into the comments, and you never get a word in edgewise.
And putting emojis in.
Right, exactly. And then you've got the 10,000 trolls that are mixed in with them, and
Yeah.
the chat's just overall is a bad experience when you get too large of an audience. So what Steam is opting to do is allow you to watch these League of Legends. They're starting with their League of Legends, Dota 2 tournaments.
I was going to say, whoa.
Dota 2, sorry. I misspoke my mass MMO.
MOBAs?
Yeah. MOBA.
Yeah, the only reason I can even say anything is because I played Dota was like my religion for a short time.
Right.
Short time in my life. We calculated out on my podcast, and it ended up being 2% of my life I spent playing Dota at that point, so yeah, I know. I made fun of a friend in high school for having 700 hours in World of Warcraft, and I, like, quadrupled that.
Speaking of trolls, where's Vlad? Oh, no, my friend. Vlad provides a public service to this chat. That is your weekly safety tips with Vlad. So, insert strange dog noises, yeah. Puppy is a talker and is in the no phase. Yeah, that's exactly right. Husky? No, not a husky. Australian Shepherd.
Cute.
So, yeah. Sorry. Anyway, one of the things that Steam is trying to do here is you get into and watch these Dota 2 tournaments, and there can be 150,000 people watching these tournaments live, if not more, but just on like one given channel. I know they've peaked at like 2.2 million viewers simultaneously in some instances. What Steam, or Valve more appropriately, is opting to do is they want you to be able to watch these, but chat with your own friends list. And so if you want to watch them together... How's it going, Steve? Oh, yeah. Yes. So if you want to watch the Dota 2 stream together with your local friends or with your Steam friends and have a chat between you and 20 other people, you can do that. And I think that's really a phenomenal service that's going to take this kind of above the...
oh boy, that's a bad pour.
Yeah. Channeling your best John impression, are you?
Yeah, you know it.
That's right.
From the best.
But this has been a problem that a lot of people have been trying to solve. Netflix has been trying to solve. How do you get people to enjoy the same show a continent apart, simultaneously chatting with your friends? You know, I've got a friend in London, and I want to watch the same show premiere with them, and I want to chat with them or whatever at the same. How do we solve that problem? And no one's come up with an elegant solution yet. This might be the first elegant solution that there is to that.
I am looking forward to this. It's kind of interesting. I got to say, I've always really liked, well, at least with Dota 2, one of the things that they offered was that if you bought a ticket to view one of their big events, you could watch the game from within the game itself, and you could actually control the camera.
Your camera angle and who you're watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, man, you could pick, because, you know, I don't know how much you know about Dota, but when they finally...
Enough to get me in trouble and enough to know that I suck at it.
Oh, God. Everybody sucks at it. That's the secret.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Anyway, not important. There's a huge tangent there. But basically, like, you know, on teams of 5, they've figured out the optimal way to play is to break into different positions, basically. A 1 through a 5 role, and each has their own part to play. And if you want to get better at doing a specific thing, well, you could hop on Twitch and you could watch their cameraman or whatever control the action and move back and forth. And the commentators are always great. Toby Wan is one of my favorite. But if you buy the ticket and you watch it in the game, you could just automatically follow that player route. In fact, you could actually set it to see what he sees when he's moving the camera, and you can see his mouse, you can see how he pans his camera.
See where he's clicking.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so you can really up your game that way. I always thought it was really clever. This looks like a really cool way to do this outside of that environment.
Right.
You know, it's because that's specific to Dota only. They don't do it for their other games, I don't think.
Right. They started to do an observer view for StarCraft Classic and StarCraft 2, I believe. And so you had similar control, but that was Blizzard doing that. But again, Blizzard hasn't solved the chat program of how do you get 1 million people watching simultaneously and make sense of what you want to chat about.
Oh, yeah. You hardly can. You hardly can.
Yeah.
So this is something to keep your eye on. Again, I think that they pulled it like the same day that it was leaked.
Yeah, it was the domain itself was leaked with a hold page.
I see.
And I think someone let it go early, or it went live early, or something like that. And a couple of sites picked up on it, and then they pulled it down, and I believe it went live officially Monday.
Okay, cool. even better.
So yeah, it went live, then it was retracted. Now it's live officially, but it was kind of a quiet release. But yeah, definitely a platform to keep your eye on. If you're into watching esports.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people have been saying this is going to be the Twitch killer.
Why does it have to kill anything?
I don't think. See, the thing is, I think they can definitely exist simultaneously because Twitch has a wider appeal now at this point. And while it's kind of been the go-to for esports for the last 5 years or whatever, that doesn't mean that there's not a place for both. And what's kind of fun, especially I think right now it's still going on, the International, which is the World Championships for Dota 2.
That coincided with the release of
absolutely.
Steam TV.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep. So what's fun about the International, like I said, I used to play Dota religiously, and we would get together and we would rent out pubs, but not rent out pubs, but we'd pack in pubs and watch it on the big TV and drink beers and get wings and stuff, like Buffalo Wild Wings and places like that. But
there was a Dota 2 tournament at Buffalo Wild Wings last time I was there.
Was there really?
It was on the screen.
Heck yeah, man. See, we started that stuff. That's what's so fun about it.
Yeah, last time I walked in, I went, what the hell is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But the International is going on right now. They're now, what the hell is my point with this? Because we were talking and I don't know. There was something about this.
International Dota 2 wasted my life. Yeah, I think we covered it.
Absolutely, I think so. There's no recovering from it. So, but anyway, this would be a fun test of the waters. Different streamers. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
So you can have different broadcasters. That's kind of what they did on Twitch lately. Is that different broadcasters that had a different appeal. So they had a noob-friendly stream on Twitch where you could go on and you could be and they explain everything a little bit more casually to you.
Nice.
And they're not as specific in the details. Then they've got the ultra-hardcore cast on the other one. Then they've got so it's kind of a smart idea.
That are only speaking in acronyms, because I've been on those streams
before. God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's exactly how it is. I one time listened to just the audio when you used to be able to... Before Twitch did that, there was an aggregate app that I had that would just get the audio from Twitch. And I was listening to it at work, and my boss was like, what? They're just saying numbers and letters and words.
Yeah.
But anyway, it could be cool to see where this goes with multiple broadcasters and streamers and things like this. There's now more options, which is better for us, the consumer.
Knight to Queen 8.
Exactly. If you don't know what it is.
If you don't know what chess is, yeah. So, yeah.
Or, and they start talking about, the Queen's defense or what. I don't know if that's not a thing, but... Or this opening gambit.
See, that's why I'm not getting... that's why I'm not getting into Dota 2 talk, because I don't know enough terminology to even make myself sound smart.
Well, it's all when you really break it down, it's all super basic and it makes sense. But you have different strategies. One that was really popular when I was playing was the one or 4 protect 1, and you get the one carry character, and he's going to get all of the experience, all of the gold, buy all of the best stuff, and he's going to be the team killer, and everybody else's goal is to just sacrifice themselves to protect him. Then you have other strategies I don't know, they have things like wombo combos, which is where you pick heroes that mesh really well and are super basically what you consider a cheap combination,
right?
And you do that. And then they got all sorts of different things.
Right.
And then there's strategies in the way you lane. Sometimes you have 2 in this lane, 2 in this lane, 1 in the middle. But other times you have 2 in this lane, 1 in the middle, 1 in this lane, and then 1 roaming and supporting that way and getting experience just peripherally. It's bizarre. If you it's hard to follow, but it's super rewarding once you get in there.
Nice. All right. What beer did you bring us?
I brought us the Quasar Pale Ale.
Nice.
From Ecliptic Brewing. I love Ecliptic.
Yep.
They're a really fun brewing company right now. I've never had the Quasar, which is why I brought it.
I've also never had this one. So.
And I didn't... It looked kind of new to me, to be honest.
5.5% pale ale, dry hopped with Simcoe and Mosaic hops.
Yeah, it looks so good. Plus, I love quasars, so...
There you go.
I love space words.
What better combination?
Absolutely.
And while we're cracking this open, we will jump right into our next tech story, which is the story of the week. It's the story that everyone's talking about. And that is that NVIDIA announced at Gamescom on Monday. Gamescom, excuse me. The RTX 20 series of graphics cards.
Yep.
So next generation graphics cards have been announced. You can pre-order them starting on this last Monday.
Yeah, they're going to be available late September.
Available September 20th, so 30-day pre-order essentially. And there's a lot of controversy over pricing, performance, what's being interpreted as lack of faith in the 20 series, what's being interpreted as just omissions in the marketing, because when you come out with a new product as a company, there's the typical market speak. There's typically, we're the fastest in this category, or it beats our previous generation by twofold, or it does this, or it does that, and whatnot. And if you've been to or seen NVIDIA releases before, you know that market speak. You know what's coming. And this was a little bit of a different turn on some of that market speak, and I think it's catching some people off guard.
I watched the presentation.
Mm-hmm. I watched the whole presentation.
Yeah, and there was like some just weird, like they really hyper focused on one thing.
Ray tracing.
They created their own metric to like measure the performance. I know, it's bizarre. And they created their own metric by which to like measure the performance of this card, which everybody's number one complaint about is like, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It doesn't mean, and I don't know. It's just bizarre that they would do that. But granted, maybe they're trying to focus on this because it is kind of what's going to bring the big leap in performance, but it just seems...
It won't necessarily bring the next leap in performance. It will bring the next leap in visual fidelity.
Right.
I will say. For those who don't understand photography and videography, I'm going to get really abstract for a second, then I'm going to bring it right back around. Video and photography work is just capturing light. That's all I'm doing. My camera's sitting out there. All it's doing is catching a reflection off my face and interpreting that light as an image. And projecting that image usually 60 times per second, but only 30 times per second right now. This image right here. There's our thumbnail. But all I'm doing is interpreting the reflections of light that reach that camera. The more light you have, typically, the better image you can get. You can play with light. You can enhance some areas. You can shade others. You can draw the picture that you want with light. And the more that your camera is able to capture and interpret, typically the better you're going to be. Regan, $5. Am I getting an RTX 2000 series? Here's some money. Also, had to use my heater coming home from work. Wow. Getting late in the season, is it?
Jeez.
I will say, today should be our last 90-degree day of the year. And in fact, tomorrow is 71.
Really?
Yeah. We're dropping like 25 degrees overnight.
But they also said like the smoke was supposed to be gone today, and
there was supposed to be like this switch moment here in the valley, and we get seasons like everyone else here in the valley, but it happens on a switch. It happens on a single day or a single couple of days, where it was 95 degrees Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday here. It'll be 71 degrees tomorrow.
I hope that's true.
Yeah, and that's the projection for the rest of fall. Is we're just going to drop 25 degrees and that's it. We're not going to hit 80 again. We're not going to hit 90 again. We're going to be 71 to 75 until mid-October. And then mid-October, it'll do another switch. Fall here is pretty short.
Yeah.
We jump straight into wet, rainy, windy, cold, freezing, etc. season. But it'll drop from mid-70s down into the high 40s, maybe low 50s, and then kind of progress into the 30s into December.
It's cold.
But it'll happen on like a day. It'll be like 71 one day. You'll walk out the door the next day and go, "Holy crap! It's 48."
Yeah.
And that's it. And we're in fall winter. Anyway,
the year's almost over.
Anyway, RTX 2000 series. I will be getting a 2000 series GPU. Not the one that you think I will be getting though.
Ooh, cryptic.
So I've got some time allotted for this. You'll find out my interpretation of what I think of the 2000 series, because I've had a couple days to digest this. I haven't spoken publicly. Even with my Discord, I kept my comments pretty guarded.
Yeah.
With what I thought of this.
You told them to watch.
Right. I told them to watch. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I wanted to really get my thoughts around this, and that included hearing a couple other media people's thoughts on the issue.
And the opinions are very wide-ranging.
They're very, very wide-ranging. From this is going to be the greatest thing ever to NVIDIA's pulling your leg. Buy AMD now.
Right.
So I'm somewhere in the middle.
It does seem a little bit like misdirection almost. Yeah. Like, look at this thing over here while they're doing that. You know. It's
right.
Like...
So for those who didn't watch the presentation, basically, it was 90 minutes of ray tracing, ray tracing, ray tracing, ray tracing. It just works. Ray tracing, ray tracing. It's going to blow your mind. Ray tracing.
Ray tracing is the future.
We do 78 gigaray performance, whereas the GTX 1080 Ti could only do 10. It's 6 times faster. Okay, so NVIDIA, you're telling me that the feature that you developed hardware to run in hardware is faster than your previous version hardware without that specific hardware in it to run that feature. Is that what you're saying? Because that's just mind-blowing to me. 6 times faster in ray tracing operations. Yes, I know that. You're not telling me anything. You're not giving me performance numbers. You're not telling me any metrics. You're not giving me anything that I can base the previous generation cards on to the new generation cards on.
Well, they gave you metrics, but it was in ray tracing operations or whatever. That like weird.
Yeah, they didn't bother doing teraflops, which is trillions of operations per second.
Mm-hmm.
They instead said RTX ops, which is ray trace operations per second, and something like 78 million ray trace operations per second on the 2080 Ti, and then 60 and 50 or something like that for the other two. I don't remember the exact numbers because honestly I don't care.
It doesn't mean anything.
What matters to me and what matters to the majority of the population is going to be not the 11 games that are coming out that are going to support ray tracing, but the 99.999% of other games that do not support ray tracing. What's the performance like? Because we've been over 2 years without a graphics card update. This is our first bone that we've been tossed. Why obfuscate those numbers? Regan, ray tracing, what the first order couldn't do.
He liked the joke so much, he made it up top. He liked the joke so much, he had to super come in it.
That's
hey,
right.
Cheers, buddy.
That's
I
right.
approve of that one.
Yeah, 6 times faster than something that wasn't designed to perform this task. Exactly. And we see that market spin all the time. That market spin is nothing new. What's new is them not talking about any other performance metrics in that conference. So I actually went ahead and charted...
See, I couldn't access your doc here.
Okay,
so.
yeah. So you're going into this drive.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually broke it down very, very simply.
Oh, nice.
Now, none of you are going to be able to see this because I don't want you to see my calculations that I did. But I can tell you that I found... By the way, NVIDIA didn't even announce... They announced the CUDA core counts and the base and boost clocks for their cards. But they didn't advertise those specs. They're not on the NVIDIA main page either. I had to go and find some marketing stuff for them, some other materials that were out that like had it as a footer.
Oh, wow.
But I have the CUDA core counts, and I have the base and the boost clock for all of the cards. The 2080 Ti, the 2080, the 2070, and then what was written on the homepage for the 10 series cards, 1080 Ti, 1080, 1070 Ti, and 1070. So my comparisons are as follows. Man, I like this new app.
I know, it's pretty cool.
By the way, I have a new application that's trying to keep us on track, kind of like a radio show, and it's working really well so far. It's working
great.
I love it so far.
It's like getting the light when you're doing comedy.
That's exactly what it is. You get a yellow light at 1 minute left. You get a red light at 0 minutes left. So yeah, we're actually trying to regulate our show, how much time we spend on each topic. So trying to make us go a little bit smoother, a little bit less off topic, more direct, but still fun. So,
absolutely.
So anyway, so here is my interpretation of what I think the there we go. What I think the performance levels are going to be for the new 20 series cards. So starting with the 2080 Ti, the one everyone wants to know, and I'm going to compare this to the 1080 Ti because that's the namesake of that card.
Yeah.
So the 2080 Ti has 4,352 CUDA cores versus 3,584 CUDA cores. And for those who aren't really fast at math, that's a 21% increase in CUDA cores. And that's just a raw increase in core count. That's not an increase in base clock. That's not an increase in clock speed at all.
Yeah.
That's not taking into account GDDR6 versus GDDR5X performance increases. That's not taking into account FinFET increases because they went from 16 nanometer to 12 nanometer in this process. That's just the number of CUDA cores that are in this core. So 21% more. Okay? So the base clock of a 2080 Ti is 1350 megahertz, whereas the base of a 1080 Ti is 1480. So we're actually slower than a 1080 Ti. The boost clock is very similar. 1545 for the 2080 Ti versus 1582 for the 1080 Ti. Now, I made a very rough estimation. And by the way, that's 9 and 4% lower for those who are keeping up. So CUDA count went up, clock speeds went down. I made a very rough estimation of what I think that difference in die package efficiency, GDDR6 speed, and just generational improvements is going to be for IPC for the CUDA cores. And I think it's going to be about 8% just from the die shrink and from the RAM increase.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I take 8%, multiply that by the CUDA core count increase, and then base that off the speed of the boost clock. I'm not going to do any overclocks. I'm not going to say, a 1080 Ti can run at 1985 megahertz, and we don't know what the 2080 Ti runs at. I'm just doing this off the standard boost clock, because that's all we know at this point that we can confirm between the two cards. I come up with a performance increase of about 28% on the 2080 Ti. Now, for those who don't know NVIDIA's history, that's about what we see year over year, or generation over generation anyway. So this is a generational improvement in CUDA speed, in rasterization speed. NVIDIA spent the entire press conference touting the ray tracing, which, for those who don't understand ray tracing is freaking cool, and it is going to change the way we see video games from now on. It is going to change real-time graphics. We're not there yet. There's not the developer support for it yet. It's barely in the APIs. It's in the baby infancy stage of DirectX 12 with DXR, and it's in the infancy stage for RTX for NVIDIA's API, integrated into Unreal 4. So there's not going to be a lot of ray tracing coming out this year. There's not going to be a lot of performance metrics to call for it. So basically all of your RTX and your tensor cores, which are the tensor cores were typically in the CUDA lineup, which is their AI cores, and the RTX didn't exist before this point. Those are just extra things that are added in. The CUDA cores is what matters when it comes to rasterization, OpenGL, DirectX, etc. performance. So those numbers out of the way. Let's go 2080 versus 1080. 2080 has a CUDA core count of 2944 versus 2560 for the 1080. Now, that's only a 15% increase. And again, if I take the base and boost clock, I'm getting about a 6% decrease in clock speed versus my 8% increase in efficiency and IPC. I'm seeing about a 22.5% improvement generation over generation for the 80 series card. So not quite as good as the Ti, but still a decent little performance boost. Now, performance per dollar, you can't find a 2080 for less than $800, whereas I can go pick up a 1080 for $350. In fact, I saw one guy on Reddit today got one for $325, shipped, Founders Edition.
Nice.
And they're out there. In fact, the day that this was announced, I saw some 1080 Ti's being sold in my area for $450, and my area for used parts sucks. So the cards are out there. The Pascal cards are out there used at good prices. Is $400 or almost double the price worth 22% improvement? No, I don't think it is.
Double the price, you should be looking for double the performance.
So, if you were wanting to know what the sleeper of this whole thing might be, it's going to be the 2070. And here is why. And I was talking about this in my Discord today with a user named CountXXX, and he's a fantastic user. And he and I were going back and forth with the die changes, with the die shrink, plus they're increasing the die size almost twofold from Pascal.
Yeah.
So they've shrunk the process, but then doubled the size of it because there's so much more. There's so many more transistors on that die because of your RTX cores, because of your tensor cores, because of everything else that's required for ray tracing technology to work. And I know you're not getting a word in edgewise here.
You got the clock, man.
You're just kind of along for the ride. Yeah. I get that.
No, when I read your notes and then I saw that I couldn't read this document, I was like, oh, okay.
So, I'm gonna have another drink here.
I'll join you.
By the way, that's good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Yeah. Definitely a Simcoe hop. It's very, very forward. And it leaves this real bitter taste in your mouth. So if you're not an IPA fan, you wouldn't like this. This drinks like an IPA, not a pale.
It does, which is a little disappointing because I was like, nah, I don't want an IPA.
Right, and this I would totally call an IPA.
It is a little bit, yeah. I would agree with you.
Now, it's not quite as clear as I'd like to see an IPA. It's definitely very hazy. In fact, there's a little bit of can conditioning going on in here.
There is, actually.
I got some yeast in there.
I kind of appreciate that, though.
Yeah.
I prefer that.
Yeah. But anyway... and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer some questions maybe at the end of today's show because I got a lot of other numbers to get to right now. So I do see your comments coming in, your memory speeds, your memory bandwidths, etc. I understand that. Ray tracing is going to be the new physics. I don't quite believe that because it's integrated into the actual APIs, not at the driver level, but at the software level as far as DirectX and Unreal 4. So I think it's going to be better implemented than PhysX, but at the same time, what's this going to do for devs who maybe do or don't want to integrate ray tracing in, and what's this do for AMD cards? Because you can't exclude 20% of the market, which, by the way, AMD is probably going to take back a fair chunk of the market when they go 7 nanometers. Spoiler alert. Anyway, back to what I think is the sleeper card of this, and that's the 2070.
Yeah.
So they put a lot more things on the die, and the die is much bigger. If you understand die processing, you know that they all come out on a giant wafer, on a giant round wafer. TSMC is able to produce a 300 millimeter wafer, so 300 millimeter diameter or radius wafer. Lithography is only so good, and you're going to get a certain number of bad components, bad sectors, bad whatever within those dies. When you have larger dies, that means you're going to have more dies with flaws on them. Now, does that mean it's an inferior product? No, it just means that you're going to have a lot more dies with a lot of good packages on them than you will lesser quality dies. So if we look at Pascal, where that package was almost half the size, you can get quite a few Pascal dies off of a single wafer. And all of those chips are all the same. It's just how many cores are good. And so you'll end up with 1080 Ti for the GP104. You'll end up with GP102s for your 1080, 1070, 1060, etc., etc. All those dies are essentially the same. They all come off the same wafer. It's just what quality are they at, and how many CUDA cores can we activate? Well, in this case, they have such a good yield on the CUDA cores coming out that the 2070 is getting a huge upgrade because of that die size. Mm-hmm. So it may not qualify to put as many RTX cores or Tensor cores into a package that we can, but the CUDA cores are coming out pretty darn well. So we're jumping from the 1070 at 1506 or the 1070 Ti at 1607 to 2304. So again, if you're following along, the 2080 Ti came in with 21% more. The 2080 came in with 15% more. The 2070 is coming in with 43% more CUDA cores. Now, the clock speed took a little bit of a hit. The boost clock went from 1683 on both 1070 and 1070 Ti to 1620, which is about 13% lower. Now, if I figure my 8% improvement year over year on the 2070, so from 2070, not the Ti, the 2070 to the, 1070 to the 2070 is a 59% improvement.
Yeah.
That's the card to get. At $500, that's going to blow the doors off quite a few cards on the market.
The price point is like unbeatable.
Right. It's not going to catch the 1080 Ti, but it'll certainly beat a 1080 today. I think it's going to slot right in between those two cards.
Yep.
And we don't know how these are going to overclock yet. That's the real gray area that I'm not ready to commit on. Because we know how CUDA overclocks, and we know how well Pascal overclocked. I mean, we went from 1680 to over 2000 with very, very good regularity. I had my 1080 behind me overclocks to 2113. These things overclocked gangbusters. The real question is, how well is Turing going to overclock? It's we know the CUDA cores will overclock. We hope they'll overclock just as well. Maybe a little bit better from the FinFET drop, from the process drop. But then again, we don't know how the RTX and the Tensor cores are going to handle overclocking because that's a complete unknown.
Yeah.
Normally, tensor cores are reserved for CUDA or for quadro cars, and quadro cars don't overclock. There's no options on them. They run at their boost speed, and that's it. And it's a conservative boost speed at that. Now, when they're all on the same die, your overclock is universal. You overclock the CUDA cores. At the same time, you overclock the RTX and the tensor cores and all the other packages within there. We don't know if the RTX units can handle an overclock yet. Maybe they're better than the CUDA cores. We don't know. But if they're worse, that means we're going to get less clock speed out of an overclock. Maybe we'll hit 1800 instead of 2100. That's going to be a huge detriment to Turing. If Turing comes out and it hits the same overclocks that Pascal did at 2000 plus with pretty good regularity, I think Turing's a win. Regardless of the price, I think it's a win. I think they're good performing cards, and I think benchmarks will bear that out. If they're only hitting 1800, 1850 tops, which, based on the conservative boost clock numbers that I'm seeing here, based on the drop in boost clock, we can see even the 2070 is lower than the 1080 was in the previous generation. The 1080 in the previous generation was 1733 versus a 1620 for the 2070, and a 1710 for the 2080. So they're underclocking the equivalent part numbers. That has me a little bit concerned that these are not going to be as good at overclocking, even though they said they're built for overclocking. I think that means they're coming out with their own overclocking tool. They won't have to rely on Afterburner or Precision X anymore. But $499, $699, and $999. What do you think?
But I mean, if anybody is a consumer like me, the way I always play it safe, I'm just gonna wait for this first wave to come out and people like you to get your hands on them and tell me what's what. With these new cards coming out, you're going to look at a used price drop for the latest 10 series. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able to get your hands on a 1080, like you said, reasonably cheap. So if you're looking for a fast performance boost in the next month, you might just keep your eye out for that.
Yeah.
But again, follow the people like Jeff.
There was a 1070 Ti on my local Craigslist for $250 today.
Oh, nice.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And the thing is, the Pascal cards are still way overpowered for what you need, even at 1440p gaming. Sure, they don't quite handle 4K, but they're close. And with a couple graphical compromises, they handle 4K just fine. You'll hold over 60. There's been so much pressure to get like 144 frames per second and keep it consistent. Almost no graphics card does that 100% of the time. Yeah. Even your 1% low is dropping to like in the 90s.
Yeah.
And so this thought that every single gaming PC has to be elitist and has to be the fastest, baddest thing ever built. My average gamer's PC video, that is over a year old at this point. I have so many people commenting on there. Wow, I thought I was pleb level. I only have an i5 8600K and a 1070 Ti. And all these people are posting online their 1080 Ti SLI rigs. It's like, you have the third best IPC processor available and the third best graphics card on the consumer market. You're not pleb level. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
What do you want? But the number of comments like that was...
Well, that's what these companies are aiming to do, though. They want you to think that you need the latest and greatest, which there's nothing wrong with having those things. Especially if that's what you're into. You're into benchmarking and this enthusiast level stuff. If you want to run the latest game, ultra high settings or whatever, sure, I get it. But with the games industry what it is, you don't even need that.
Right.
You're not even close.
You can play every single game today, every single one, at 60 FPS on a 1050 Ti.
Yeah.
And you're every single game.
And you're not even going to notice that it's 60 frames. Like, that's what I don't get is these people...
Did I say at ultra settings? No, I didn't say at ultra settings. I said every single game at 60 FPS, 1080p. Every single one. And most of them at 1440.
Yeah.
And you can do it with a Ryzen 2200G, $100 CPU. So the number of elite people out there that think they need to spend $2,000 on the biggest, baddest system out there because I want to play my games at 100 FPS, you don't need it.
Yeah, I don't know. See, and I've always had a problem with kind of that scene too, because it's like, not to derail too much, so I'll keep it quick, but it's like when I was in college, man, the number of people that would get their loans and be like, check out what I got, and it's like top tier computer. And then 2 months later, it's like, anybody want to buy a game? And then they're partying it out on Craigslist and eBay because they can't afford whatever. And it's like, that's...
All of a sudden, I can't afford to eat.
Yeah. And I get it. It's fun to, like, you know, build your computer and do all that sort of stuff. It's just like any other hobby in that way. But you don't need it. If you're playing games and you just want to play games, you don't need it.
Mm-hmm. I'm running Overwatch on Linux right now with a GTX 680, 60 FPS on low settings, of course. Right. And honestly, a 1050 Ti will probably get you medium settings at 60 FPS. And tell me a game that doesn't still look good at medium settings. GTA 5 looks freaking incredible at medium settings.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You know, and... Whoa, what does that mean?
I have no idea. Member.
What is that member?
That means someone sponsored my channel.
Whoa.
Wow.
Cheers. That's new. I've never seen that one.
Your passion for the subject is why your channel will succeed. Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that. That's what I kind of founded my channel on. Now, again, I'm an enthusiast at heart. I love the high-end hardware. I'm probably going to end up with dual 2080 Ti's and NVLink. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But at the same time, you don't need it. I don't need it. I know I don't need it. But I want to show it off because it's cool. Right. But at the same time, I'm still going to do the used PCs. I'm working on a follow-up to my average PC build. I actually wanted to have it out for the 1-year anniversary of that, which was August 13th or something like that. I didn't quite make it, but I have my spreadsheet up with what the hardware needs to be right now. So I'm working on putting that together because that was a very popular video.
Yeah.
So I run Overwatch on medium-ish settings with a 1050 Ti. Exactly, 100 FPS.
Perfect. I mean, what do you... You know what I mean? It's like having those ultra high textures and everything. Like, it's not going to make you better at the game,
right?
Like, and why are you?
In fact, the pros, they play it low with far draw distance.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's the trick. I mean, I remember the first time I ever played Dota 2 when I finally got a computer that could, like, run everything on ultra-high settings, and there was so much extra garbage in it. I was like, what? This is distracting. I would see, like, fish swimming in the river that separates the two halves of the map, and I was like, I would always freak out and be like, enemy! Like, oh, no, just a fish. Just a fish that means nothing to the game.
Yep.
And,
So, do you guys want to know a secret? And that's what my gaming PC was about 8 months before I started my channel. It was a Xeon X5690 on an X58 MSI motherboard with 24 gigs of RAM at 1333, with a 500 gig SSD and two 2 terabyte spinning disks in a RAID 1 because I didn't have a home server at the time, and dual R9 290s, or sorry, two R9 270s. Not even the 270X. I ran Crossfire 270s. That was my gaming PC 8 months before I started this channel. So I come from a place of pretty humble origins.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I've had top flight hardware. Shortly after I started the channel, I bought an R9 390X, and then shortly after that, I bought dual RX 480s, and then shortly after that, I bought a GTX 1080. And so I ascended the ladder pretty quick on top flight hardware, and I've had top flight hardware before. 10 years ago, I had dual 9800 GTX pluses. So I went out and on Newegg, I actually looked up my receipt on Newegg the other day. I spent $970 on dual graphics cards when I built my machine 10 years ago.
Legit.
So yeah, I go up and down in trends, just depending on when I have money and where I want to spend it on and whatnot. But the thing is, we're all gamers and we all come from a different place. 1050 Ti on a Phenom X4 3.2 gigahertz. WoW at 30 to 45 frames per second. 60 FPS on Destiny with a GTX 660. Exactly. You don't need top flight hardware to do all this.
You don't. See, I'm happy with 40 frames all around.
Quite honestly, I'm happy if I'm always above 45. 45 kind of my point where, okay, I'm starting to see some stuttering.
Yeah.
If I'm at a solid 60 and my low is like 50, I don't give two craps. I don't. Because all I'm doing is chasing numbers.
Yeah.
And you can spend a lot of money chasing numbers, or you can just play the goddamn game.
I see, and that's where I come from. It's like I love computers, I love building, but you know, ultimately when it comes down to it, I just want to play games, and for that, and I grew up like just dirt poor, so it's like I was always getting my friends' hand-me-downs. I was always getting,
Aren't you still on Fermi?
Oh, dude, you don't even want to know. It's like, and in fact, I'm in a rough place right now, which is why not recently, but a couple years ago, I was like, I'm just going to meddle in console gaming for a while, just because.
I have an upgraded card for you.
Thank you.
I will send you home with
Thank you so much, sir.
Please, let me help you.
See, and this is how I get by in life, is people pity me.
You have an RX 570. Or GTX 570. Please, take my old crap.
Yeah, it's been rough. But honestly, though, the games I want to play, I'm able to play. That I'm a little, and what I can't run on my PC, of course, I can just get on my PlayStation if I really want.
Right.
Of course, there's games that I hate playing on my PlayStation versus my PC, like Overwatch, for example. We talked about. There's lots of shooters in general I'm just not a fan of on the console. But everything else, man, it's like if I want a graphical experience, like I can still put in, Horizon Zero Dawn and be blown away.
Oh, totally.
Or what's the one I just played? Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice. Like,
oh yeah,
that game melted my face off.
Beautiful game.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy. I'm getting my stuff done. And when I want to play and I want to frag people, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, Dota 2.
Runs on anything.
It runs on anything.
Runs on freaking integrated graphics if you're willing to suffer at 720p.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I played on my laptop all the time.
Yeah, and so did I.
So, yeah. And like I said, man, the fish, distraction.
Got another new member, another new sponsor.
Wow.
Excellent. Wow.
You guys were setting a trend. Thanks so much.
I didn't even know I enabled sponsorship on my channel, so thank you guys so much.
You guys are just the best.
So much.
Craft Computing, I tell this to everywhere I go. I say Craft Computing, best fans around. You guys never disappoint.
Regan, how's the change? The change is excellent. Honestly, now, part of the reason for the upgrade is I ran a 1440p monitor for years. This monitor that's on my streaming PC, it's an HP ZR2740W. I've owned this monitor for 9 years now, and it was the first IPS panel that I bought. It's a 1440p, and when I did my review of the LG 43-inch, when I said I have a soft spot for professional panels that are just freaking gorgeous to look at, I really meant that. Yeah. Because I spent $900 on this panel, and it is not a gaming panel. It is a professional panel. It is 99% Adobe RGB accurate. Sure, it's got some ghosting to it. It's only 60 FPS. It has one display port, which kind of half works some of the time, and a dual link DVI port, and that's it. But it is one of the most beautiful monitors you could ever look at. And the same thing with this LG, is this LG monitor behind me is freaking gorgeous. It's not a gaming monitor, it's a professional monitor. But I want to drive those displays as gamery as I can. Yeah. And so I've tried to invest in hardware that does these justice. Now, Can I game at 4K on a GTX 1080? I can't quite get there with a lot of games. Far Cry 5 was really hard, and in fact, I up-render from 1440p on this, which looks just fine. Yeah. It really does.
Sure.
Even still, even with, a Threadripper system and a GTX 1080, there's still some give and take on the performance that I want for the hardware that I have. If I have a 1080p monitor, it'd blow this thing out of the water.
Right.
It's all a matter of scale.
Truly.
And actually, that's a video topic that I'm going to get into eventually, is where do things that people say matter actually matter? Oh, you can only put high-pressure fans on a radiator. Oh, you can only... If you're going to buy a 1080 Ti, you need to have an i7. If you're going to do this, you need that. If you're going to do this, you have to do this.
That's just gatekeeping.
It's gatekeeping, and at the bottom end, none of it matters.
Right.
None of it matters. And so the people that are sitting up there with the i7s and the 1080s in SLI, all they're doing is confusing the market for the people who are just trying to get into it. Hey, I want to water cool my system. What do I need? Well, you need to go with the EK Vardar fans because they're the high pressure fans, and everything else is junk. And you need this and you need that. And bitch, I water cooled a system for $80 on my channel.
Right.
So seriously, so I do plan on doing a video of the common bottlenecks that people run into, and are they bottlenecks, and when do they matter? And the answer is most of them don't.
Craft Computing is the people's tech channel. I love it. So. Look forward to that one soon.
Yeah, so that one's one of the ones that's noodling around up there. I have some. I'm filming 3 videos this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We're leaving for PAX next Friday. A week from Friday. Early in the morning. Early.
Not early enough, Steve. Just kidding.
John.
Well, wait. Is it?
John's not driving up till Friday night. Yeah.
I mean, good for him.
Good for him. Yeah. He's going to sleep in. He's going to drive up leisurely in the evening.
Lame. I hope there's a fire across the freeway. No, I don't hope that.
I hope no one is hurt.
Absolutely. I hope no one's hurt, but you still are delayed and inconvenienced incredibly.
That's right. I hope the whole way one of your tires is just slightly out of balance and there's like a spring poking you in the ass. Oh, that's what I hope.
There you go.
That's what I hope.
I hope a bunch of bugs hit your windshield and you're out of washer fluid.
Oh, I've been there.
Oh, God, I know. One time I was riding my motorcycle.
Every spring.
I rode my motorcycle once through this like cloud of like bugs and literally had to pull over to wipe my helmet off because I couldn't see afterwards. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I've done the mosquito trap thing.
Yeah. Really looking forward to PAX.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. We're driving up next Friday morning.
I can't wait.
And we should be there the whole weekend. So
it's going to be my first conference.
Nice.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And plus,
this is my first conference 100% officially representing craft computing. And the first one where I'm like leading it. So I'm actually kind of nervous.
Right? See? Well, and that's the weird thing. And, again, not to derail this too much, but we get our, our press passes.
It is red, but
I know.
We're cool.
We get our press passes and we're all good to go. And then all of a sudden, just this deluge of emails about setting up appointments and all this stuff. It's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then nobody else was quite doing anything yet, and we had kind of talked about a couple things. We set up one thing, and I was like,
hey Jeff, do you mind if I
just screw around and see what happens?
Yeah.
Literally that's all that was. I was like, because I kind of wanted to there were some things I was definitely interested in before the calendar got filled up. I was like, we should do this. And then I literally went line by line and I was like, oh, I get how this works now. Huzzah!
Yeah. So what I asked is if you want to set up an appointment with a booth, CC me on the email just so I know what you're saying. And then we'll set the appointment and we're all good. So if there's anything that you guys want to check out in particular, we'll cover it on the channel. Not a problem. But just let me know what the schedule is and who you're talking to and what you're talking about. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
And so Rhett started sending out these emails, and about the 3rd or 4th one he sent out, I emailed him back and said, dude, Rhett, you were freaking born for this. You were saying all the right things. You have the PR speak down. It's how can I help you, sir?
Right.
How can I help you spread the good word of Ashes of the Sing email?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm totally looking forward to going up. We have a lot of really good appointments set.
There's a few that I'm so stoked for.
There's a couple that I'm kind of nervous to go in.
Me too.
I'm kind of nervous to go to one hardware vendor. I'm not going to name who they are, but I kind of put my foot in my mouth the first time I talked to this guy, and I have an appointment with him again, and I had Brett set it up.
Yes.
And I'm going, okay.
It's going to be good.
So I need a firm handshake and an apology first off.
Oh no!
Yeah.
What did you say to him the first time?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
And then there's another one. I know Valve probably knows who I am because if you Google SteamOS, I bounce places with the first place result,
which
with
is
SteamOS's homepage. So I know they probably know who I am. So I am trying to get an appointment with Valve right now.
I
hope they do.
Wouldn't that be great though? Because they're like Jeff. What can we do to make SteamOS better?
It's totally good for both of us,
right?
And that's the thing. That's the thing about this industry is what's good for me is good for them, and what's good for them is really good for me. Because if people are interested in SteamOS, they're going to be interested in someone talking about SteamOS.
Absolutely.
And so it does work two ways.
Absolutely.
So
I'm so excited. There are, like you said, there's a few I'm pretty nervous for. Look at all these guys. This is
Skull, Corey, Reverend. You are all jumping on. God, I love you guys.
Excellent. The People's Tech Channel.
I have another beer that I need to go grab because it's in the fridge.
Okay.
So.
Well,
and then we will get into the next section of news.
all right. Cool. Yeah, we're a little over, but I think we can... There's some that we can gloss over, I think, that I put on, so maybe. But, yeah, guys, PAX is going to be a lot of fun. So why don't you guys should follow us on Twitter if you haven't done that. Like, if you're not seeing videos, I'm going to be trying to do constant updates on Twitter about who we're talking to, where we are. If any of you guys are there, hit us up. And we can try and exchange some sanitary con fist bumps.
That's right. Oh, we need new glasses, too.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And, yeah, we got a fair amount of games news set up for PAX, but we also got a fair amount of hardware news set up. So there's going to be kind of just like a potpourri, if you will. We're going to have a lot of fun. Come join us on Twitter and all of that stuff.
So I should let you do the honors with our new bottle opener.
Whoa!
Yeah.
When did these get in?
Monday. They came in Monday.
This is excellent.
Yep. So, a little bit of an announcement. If you are a member of my Patreon right now, here, go ahead and throw it up there.
Look at that.
If you're a member of my Patreon right now, you're getting one of these. So go and make sure your address is up to date. Make sure you've checked the right reward thing. If you are on my Patreon by August 31st, that is my cutoff for a $1 reward tier, you will be getting a bottle opener in the mail. You will be getting a Craft Computing bottle opener in the mail. And give me your first impressions of that bottle opener.
This is sturdy, first of all.
Yes.
And I love this engraving here. Yep. Like, it's, I don't know what technique they used.
It's laser engraved.
It's laser engraved.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it is you can feel it. Mm-hmm. And it looks nice. It's crisp. Obviously, the Craft Computing logo is among the best out there. But no, not only that. It's lightweight, which I enjoy. It's
small. It's lightweight, so you can put it on your keychain. Right. It's not something that's going to get in the way. See, my daily driver bottle opener
too big.
was the Sierra Nevada one, and I love this thing, but it's an eighth of an inch thick, and it's solid steel, and it's
sits
heavy.
On the desk.
Right. This is a desk bottle opener.
Now, what is this? Like aircraft grade aluminum or something? Because this is light.
They say it's aluminum, but it's magnetic, so I don't think it's 100% aluminum. It's some kind of alloy, but it's very lightweight.
It is super light. That's the first thing I noticed about this.
But it's super sturdy. Now,
and this is something I would love to have on my keychain again.
Right.
It's small and light.
I shopped for quite a long time for something that I would genuinely carry on my keychain.
Yeah.
Because you can go and you can get the dollar store or the 7-Eleven aluminum bottle openers for 70 cents, custom engraved and whatnot.
Sure.
And it's like, I wouldn't carry one of those. Number one, they suck at opening bottles. Number two, they're too freaking big to carry on my keychain. What would I like to carry on my keychain that other people might enjoy? That was my goal for this.
Have you already opened 100 bottles with this?
Yeah.
May I?
Go for it. That's what it's there for.
Ooh. First of all, that was my fault.
Yeah.
Not the bottle opener.
So I will say, instead of going like this, what I do is I'll hold it kind of like this. I'll palm it.
Smart.
So you get
even
it on
better,
there,
more stability.
And then you leverage it.
I was thinking of the camera.
Right. Right.
Which I should never do.
Yeah, for camera, you were doing the right technique. For opening a bottle, hold it in your palm, and it pops right off. There's no effort to it at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, first of all, my fault. But yeah, no, it definitely grabs on. It's perfect size. Obviously, I'm sure it's laser measured, in the machine, which, you want. I've handmade some bottle openers and you're eyeballing that. And it's as soon as it comes out of the forge, you're like, anybody got a beer I can try this?
Right.
So this is great. This is solid.
It totally works. It's easy to use. It fits on your keychain. It's lightweight.
And I think there's something to be said about the minimalist nature of something like this.
Yeah.
Because, you can have... for example, the bottle opener I carried on my keychain for a long time that for some reason, I don't know why, it's just because of what I had. It was a freaking scorpion design, for God's sake. It had all these legs, right? And I'm sure I just found it in a junk drawer somewhere, and I was like, oh, I need one. Put it on.
Can you kill someone with it?
Yeah, why not? I probably could do that.
Hashtag feel the engraving. So, anyway, if you become a member of my Patreon by August 31st, you will be getting one of these limit 75. Now, there's 63 people on my Patreon right now, so I will be accepting 8 more members. Or 12 more members, excuse me. I went the wrong way. 12 more members. And you will be getting one of these just for being a member of the Patreon.
So, is there a link for that Patreon account?
There is a link for the Patreon account. It's in the YouTube video description, patreon.com/craftcomputing. It's very easy to find.
Absolutely. And if you aren't a member, you should be.
That's
because
right.
if you're one of the next 8, you're going to get one of these sweet, awesome Craft Computing bottle openers.
Right.
You know how serious we are about beer here.
Now, after August 31st, this is going to a $10 reward tier.
Excellent.
So, and I will be selling these individually, but that'll be with the second batch. So... and on my Patreon, I do plan on doing rewards about every 6 months.
Great.
They're not going to be a regular thing, but inside of every 6 months, you will be getting a reward of some kind.
Not only that, but you get to come and join the Discord chat, right?
Right.
Which is still Patreon only, I hope.
Yes.
Come
on, focus.
That is a beautiful logo.
Anyway, it's a great looking logo.
Minimalist design, lightweight. I cannot express.
I feel like we're on QVC right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be yours if you just dial the number at the bottom of your screen. One of our assistants out back is going to take your information down.
1-888-DGAF. I seriously need to register that number.
That's a really good idea.
I wonder if there's a Google Voice account available for DGAF for the last 4.
There could be,
yeah.
And that's the beauty about Google Voice. Unfortunately, I can't really do Google Voice anymore because I'm on Google Fi, which is my Google Voice number,
right.
Which was really annoying. The first phone calls I got were for my podcast because we took voicemails and played them on the air.
Right.
So it was like, welcome to Awesome Internet Radio Podcast. You're all in one. And I had this like long thing. It's like, if you're leaving a message for Duel of Taints, simply name, it's like, simply name the podcast you're leaving a message for, and then leave your message. Yeah. But it was like a 2-minute long thing, and like my mom was like, "Who did I call the right?" Like her voicemail was like, "Did I dial this?"
Rhett, honey, what is Duel of Taints?
Oh, Mom, she knows though. That's the problem. She listened like religiously.
But wait, there's more. Anyway, those asking, yes, this is a Deschutes. It is their Twilight Summer Ale. It's one of their seasonal ale releases. And I just saw it on the shelf, so I decided to grab one. Deschutes Brewery in Bend, Oregon, and soon to be Virginia.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're actually opening a brewery in Virginia.
Taking a leap.
That's right.
I approve.
Anyway, 5%, very easy drinking ale. They come out with this about once a year. And just solid.
Yeah, I approve. Tastes great.
All right. So we'll do... I think I got into the performance of the RTX 20 series enough. I think that's probably enough talk on that.
Sure.
There was some news that the RTX 2080 Ti couldn't hold 1080p 60 FPS with ray tracing enabled. I don't know how much I buy that story versus how much of it was one guy being pissed off versus not understanding versus what... There was a video that surfaced on Twitter and later on Reddit and got a lot of traction that it couldn't hold 60 FPS. Why am I spending $1,200 on a graphics card that can't hold 60 FPS? I'm waiting for benchmarks. I'm waiting to see it for myself. I'm waiting to see what ray tracing does. But it's early release drivers. It's pre-release game. This is beta version of the game. We're not final yet.
Yeah.
The game hasn't gone gold. The drivers haven't gone gold.
Yeah.
The hardware hasn't gone gold. So we're waiting. I want to wait for benchmarks before I say ray tracing is dead in the water. Now, what I do think is ray tracing is kind of the stopgap between this and the 7nm drop, which is going to happen probably late 2019, early 2020. However, AMD has announced that late 2018, there's going to be a 7nm Vega, probably for the pro market, and mid 2019, there's going to be a 7nm Vega for the consumer market. So AMD is going to beat NVIDIA to the 7nm market, and they're going to beat Intel to the 7nm market on the CPU side. And I think they're going to be close to the performance crown if everything shakes out the way it should.
Wouldn't that be great?
I think.
That's crazy.
There's going to be competition across all spaces in tech again, except for memory.
Which is great.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah, independent benchmarks, not NVIDIA, but NVIDIA didn't announce crap for benchmarks. I know I'm like 2 beers in. They didn't announce crap. All they said is double the performance of the previous series in this arbitrary test that obviously this one's going to favor.
It doesn't. Yeah, it
doesn't
mean
matter.
anything.
Nothing means
And that's
anything
why
until
we
it
need
gets
to
into the
wait.
hands of people who are going to test it.
We need to wait, and we need to see once we start getting real statistics from real people.
Yep.
Then we're gonna know.
Yep.
But until then, all we have is the narrative that NVIDIA is controlling 100% of the way. Mm-hmm. It might be hard because you like their products or whatever, but they're not your friend. You're a bottom line to them, and that's fine. They're doing something new, and I don't think that they're not just going to outright lie about that.
Right.
But what it means and what it could mean for you, they might be inflating a little bit. So just
they're certainly inflating because everyone does it, and as Jace Sense said, this sounded like an AMD press conference, which I thought was just spot on. Not that I have anything against either company, but AMD usually goes, "Oh, we're going to change the marketplace forever,"
right? And
then they come out with Vega 64.
Yeah.
Although they also came out with Threadripper, and Threadripper changed the marketplace forever.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah.
But yeah, no. NVIDIA comes out and they usually go, "Yeah, we're good, and we know it." This time they came out and said, "We're way better than our last series cards at this one thing that we built this card to do. We know that. What are the numbers?" Wow! And so it was much more... It's much more guarded from NVIDIA, and we're not used to seeing that, and I think that's why everyone's kind of apprehensive.
Yeah. And the key thing is too, that's the one thing is they talked about ray tracing, like everybody should know what it is and be excited about it. Mm-hmm. And, anybody who's a consumer of like CG media is like, you've seen ray tracing technology being used, right? It's like in the Avengers. It was used as far back as...
It was in Cars for Pixar.
Right.
The reflections are all ray traced.
Yeah. So like, it's a thing that people have used, but
never in real time.
Real time, exactly. So we'll see. Time will tell. That's the only thing that I can say. And I assume that many people that are watching are of the same mind as me. I'm going to wait and see.
According to Adored TV, no ray tracing for 2060-2050. That is correct. Based on the rumors that I've heard, those are going to be GTX series cards, not RTX series cards.
Oh, there you go.
So 2060-2050 series cards and 2030 GT series cards, probably not going to be ray traced.
Yeah.
Or not going to include the tensor cores and the AI required for ray tracing.
Yeah.
Because remember, this isn't true ray tracing at a hardware level. This is what they're referring to as hybrid ray tracing. It is the artificial intelligence interpreting what elements need to be ray traced and what needs to be rasterized.
Yeah, it's like a projection, basically.
Right. True ray tracing takes hours or days per frame. So the fact that we're able to do any ray tracing at all in real time is pretty astronomically cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, one of the things that I did want to touch on real quick is that NVIDIA is phasing out SLI, but they're bringing NVLink to consumers with the 2080 and 2080 Ti. And NVIDIA actually did state we want to do a renewed focus on multi-GPU systems because people build them, the enthusiasts build them, but we haven't supported them properly in the past. NVLink kind of has some promise of being API agnostic. The developers won't need to code for it because all the software is going to see is one bigger graphics card.
Yeah.
So if you buy dual 2080s or 2080 Ti's, sorry, not 2070, they're excluding that from that card. But 2080 Ti, you'll be able to use NVLink and you'll actually get shared memory resources between the two. So instead of 8 gig plus 8 gig equals 8 gig, you'll get 8 gig plus 8 gig equals 16 gigs of video memory. And all your operating system is going to see is a single 2080 or 2080 Ti with either 16 gigs or 22 gigs of memory.
Yep.
So if you're a real high-end enthusiast, that is phenomenal news because now your performance should scale pretty linearly. Linearly. Whatever.
Linearly.
It's too late for that joke.
No, don't. We hate puns.
The scaling should be linear. There we go.
There, we're on it.
So, anyway, so that's all I have to say about that because they really didn't talk about it. Anyway, supercapacitors.
Yeah, this is kind of
moving on
exciting.
to some different news here.
Yeah, I say exciting, but it's really not that exciting. But it's interesting. This is kind of fun. So the supercapacitors power the Note 9 stylus, but are they ready to replace batteries? Now, basically, the difference between batteries and supercapacitors, right, is batteries, of course, take a long time to charge. And they discharge slowly over time, but supercapacitors, of course, they can charge very quickly. It's basically a capacitor that can charge and discharge very quickly. It says here in this article, 40 seconds of charging is enough to give it juice for 30 minutes. Now, of course, with the stylus, the trick is that it is stored within the body of this device. So, you're writing and doing whatever, or drawing a little doodle, and you're like, I'm done, whoop, and you slide it in, and by the time you're ready to use it again, it's got 30 minutes of juice.
Right. So it's inductively charging the pen inside the body of the phone. 40 seconds of charge gives it 30 minutes of use.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Right. And what's kind of exciting about it is that, of course, this article talks a little bit about are capacitors ready to replace batteries? I don't think so, but what's fun is just the speculation, right? Like, it's this idea of, because batteries are super inefficient, and like Reverend says here, they're wasteful.
But very exciting to him, too.
Right, it is
and I'm excited, too. Because lithium is one of the dirtiest things that you can dig up out of the earth.
And the mining operations for it are so bad.
For those who think you're doing the environment a favor by buying a hybrid car, I have some really, really bad news for you.
Right. And eventually, like, we might even run out of these materials, right? Like, they're not inexhaustible by any means.
Right.
And while we've made great leaps and bounds in lithium-ion battery technology, in no small part thanks to people like Tesla, with like their wall battery, which I talk about on the show probably all the time.
I want one.
I know, don't you though? Like, it revolutionizes solar, and that's what's fun about the capacitors, is that if we can start,
it makes solar practical. Is what it does.
And if we start dreaming up fun and practical ways to replace batteries with these super capacitors, we're going to be seeing just an influx of, I think, more technology like this, but on a bigger scale. Right? Like, imagine just plopping your camera down like on an inductive pad for a little bit, and you're able to pull it up and shoot for an hour.
For 15 minutes, and then being able to shoot
15
for an
minutes
hour.
is
Right.
Okay. There you go. That's more reasonable. Yeah. So there's all sorts of things like that. I mean, think about all the devices that we use that are kind of like high discharge devices that.
Well, we're talking about exhaustible resources. Tony wants to know: will we run out of beer? We can still make Pruno from like anything, so no.
Right. Remember when I was coming of age, the big story was that because people of our generation are consuming more wine than ever, that we're going to run out of wine. I've yet to see the results of that in the store. In fact, it feels like there's more wine than ever.
Right.
So,
in fact, if anything, we just kicked the craft brewing industry into gear.
Right. I know, that's what I was thinking too. So, I don't know. But yeah, batteries and capacitors, this is all super fun, like futurism tech, right? It's just a fun way to kind of, we have this small piece, this small example of like what we can do with it. And now it's just up to these innovators to figure out ways that we can start implementing it more greatly in our lives. I for one, am excited. This article, if you guys are interested, it's in the YouTube links. It talks about a couple different potentials for it, and using different materials. Like here they mentioned graphene as one example that they can start building these things with. It's going to be...
Being able to artificially create these batteries with these capacitors with sustainable materials is really where the science needs to go.
Yeah.
Being able to create with graphene. Graphene is a sustainable material that we can generate synthetically, that we can use regularly and not harm the environment.
Right.
That's really where we need to be heading.
Absolutely.
And this is kind of the first step in this.
Yeah, and if you guys are just as interested in like this kind of battery technology type stuff, of course, this article I linked to is on The Verge, and The Verge has like a whole series, basically like a curated article list that they call The Battery Issue, which I follow closely because to me this is the future.
Yep.
If we can the quote-unquote battery issue.
I want to go there.
Nice, let's do it. Okay. If we can solve the battery issue, then we're going to solve a lot of problems.
Yep. All right, so we're going to skip a couple news stories. We had some news on Google that Google tracking you, even though you said you didn't want to be tracked. Again.
Yep. Verizon throttling data. We already knew.
Verizon throttling data for firefighters battling the Northern California Shasta wildfire.
Thus, kind of like
hindering their operations.
Hindering their operation, and not only that, but like kind of marketing on. What's the word? Like, I guess endangering people.
Right.
Like this.
Sorry, you need to upgrade to our platinum plan, which actually includes unlimited data for federal agencies.
I kind of understand how businesses work, but I can't imagine the people on the phone. They're like, by the way, we're trying to save people's lives and property here, and you're screwing us. And they're like, sorry, sir, we'll settle this next week.
Is 1 megabit a second good for you?
Right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, AT&T gave people free internet access if you went with Haiti or Puerto Rico restore efforts.
Yeah.
If you told them, "Hey, I'm flying over there for this," they said, "Okay, free data, go for it."
What a great thing. So screw you, Verizon.
Yeah. Although screw you, AT&T, for many, many other things.
Yeah. Screw all big data carriers right now, honestly. And then also one other quick one, not to talk about it, but Android Pie released kind of over the last week. I've been using it for about 5-6 days now, and largely the same as my last Android operating system, but there are
Oreo?
Right, yeah, I think that's what it was.
I just got Oreo like a month ago, so...
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
See, I love kind of jumping on board these things, so I always try to like get in on them as fast as I can. There are some features with Android Pie that are kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And I'll just briefly touch on the largest of which is like their battery
Saver mode?
Saver, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. But basically it analyzes which apps of yours use the most battery, and it can suspend them, and it can notify you if them or if they're particularly hoggy of that resource, which I have found already to be pretty cool. Then there's a couple of other small things. Just it kind of anticipates your usage a little bit more. I kind of also like the, I don't know what you call the window, but the way you kind of swipe between open apps and things like that.
Yeah.
Way more efficient and cool, and it's taken me the whole time since I've downloaded to get used to it, but today I was thinking like, damn, this is a cool feature.
I'm on board now.
Yeah. So instead of 3 buttons at the bottom, which is pretty typical for Android, you got your back, your home, your app button.
Yep.
It's got 2 now, and you can kind of slide between it even, which is kind of cool. Like, I'll just show you briefly, but here, like, I've got one button right here, and if I want to slide between stuff, it's as easy as, whoops, let's see if I can do it. So it's like, you just hold it and slide kind of through them.
It's more of a scroll bar system.
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
So I kind of like it, and it's really easy. You can just kind of, swipe there. It anticipates your app usage a little bit, but anyway, I don't know. There's a couple of other features that are kind of interesting that if you guys are interested, you could probably just hop right on your phone and find your update button and figure that out.
Sorry, I just... The problems with being a YouTuber is some vendors have my address now, and I'll just get random package notifications that I'm being sent something. I know, first world problems, right?
Yeah.
But I just got a DHL notification. I don't know who it's coming from.
Did you guys
I didn't order
something?
anything in the last couple days. I don't remember talking to anyone, although I might have. I don't know.
Oh boy.
So, I might know who it. I might know who this one's from.
But is this the next story we're on right here?
Yes, right there.
Cool.
So back to Valve for a minute.
Volvo.
There we go. All right. Back to Valve. Steam OS had a pretty significant beta announcement this week. Now, I alluded to earlier that I think Valve probably knows who I am.
Yeah.
340,000 views on my SteamOS video that said what might have been. SteamOS is kind of still in beta. They haven't done anything with it.
Yeah.
The UI sucks. Why did you build this? If you're going to build something that competes, build something that competes. Stop meddling around with this crap. There's no compatibility. Yeah, I wasn't overly nice to the system. I liked the idea, but I wasn't overly nice to the exception of it.
Which is fine. What do they get from you, like, stroking their ego?
Right, exactly. It was an honest review. That being said, 2 weeks after I posted the video, SteamOS was pulled from the Steam main page.
Yeah.
Only to be announced a couple weeks later that, SteamOS 3.0 is coming out, and we're doing a kernel update.
Yeah.
Wow, what else are you doing? Oh, nothing. Okay, so it's business as usual then. Well, yeah.
Go figure.
Well, the latest beta of SteamOS, and actually Steam for Linux as a whole, so any Steam install on Linux, is getting wine support via a repackaged version of Wine called Proton. This is, and it's been rumored for about a week and a half now, is getting Windows compatibility modes for Linux. And they've announced, what games were announced? Let me pull that page up so I can actually read it, because the font's really tiny on there. Most of them are pretty small, but there's some VR titles on here, there's some OpenGL titles on here, there's some Vulkan titles on here, and there's some DX12 titles on here. They went kind of the full gamut just to go, okay, what can we make work? Beat Saber, Bejeweled 2 Deluxe, Doki Doki, Doom, Doom 2, and Doom VFR, so the virtual reality version of Doom, Fallout Shelter, Fate, Final Fantasy VI, Geometry Dash, Google Earth VR, Into the Breach, Magic the Gathering, Mountain Blade, Nier Automata, Payday the Heist, Quake, so the re-release version of Quake, not Quake Champions, just Quake.
Yeah.
Stalker, Star Wars Battlefront 2, so they're going back in time to 2006.
But it's such a great game.
It's
the best Star Wars Battlefront.
Totally. Tekken 7, The Last Remnant, Tropico 4, Ultimate Doom, and Warhammer 40,000, a couple of different versions
What
of
a great array of games.
What a great smattering from the last 15 years of gaming.
Like, all of these are games that I play and love.
Right. But all of those you can play on Linux today.
Excellent.
So what Steam is doing is they are basically pre-screening these games for Wine compatibility via Proton. And Proton uses a open source Wine as well as some other open source packages to enable Windows compatibility of executables on a Linux operating system. This is phenomenal news, and I really hope it takes off, because this was kind of the missing link that I had in my video to mainstream adoption of Steam. And the one point that kept coming back, well, I can play GTA 5 on Steam. Bullshit, you can. Don't tell me you can play GTA 5 on Linux and not have it crash every 5 minutes, or that your DRM works perfectly, or that this works, or that works, or that you didn't have issues with this, or that your graphics didn't
These are
glitch,
just the fanboys that want...
I know the Linux fanboys are a hardcore base, and I love you, and I respect you guys. Don't get me wrong. But bull, were you able to play some of these games that you claimed you could play? Because I've done Wine for 15, 20 years, because it's a development from like 1994. I don't know if you know how long I've been in this game, but I've been in this game a while. And I know the state of Wine, and I know what you can make work and what you can't make work. And what you guys were claiming works doesn't work. So, now that we've gotten that out of the way, now that I've pissed off every Linux fanboy in the crowd.
Oh, there go all your members.
They're dropping like flies. And here we go. I failed miserably at getting Wine to work.
Cheers on your pun.
Right. So... here's the deal. Wine is a phenomenal tool, but it was not a great tool. And getting it to work was like pulling teeth on a toddler. Sure, you can do it, but you better knock them out first.
Right, yeah.
That's a horrible visual, by the way. Fuck! Okay, let's get this done.
I meant drugs!
Right.
You're just like, oh.
That's even worse.
Anyway.
Now he's been the victim of some horrible accident. Anyway, Wine, yes, it kind of worked at its core, but it didn't work, and it wasn't intuitive. And if you and I had this great argument back and forth with one YouTube commenter this week, in fact, that said, when you said you couldn't install and uninstall applications easily, or that I couldn't mod software, what did you mean by that? Can you expand on that? Because can't I just download a dev package and double click and have it run? I said, sure. Tell you what, I'm going to install Google Chrome. I'm going to go to Chrome's website, Google's website. Mm-hmm. I'm going to download the dev package. I'm going to install Chrome. Sure. Double click, it installs. How do you uninstall Chrome? Now, it's only 3 commands in terminal with sudo command privileges, and you don't know if it works or not because it kind of removes your icons, but do you know if it actually worked? The end user has no freaking clue, and the second you send an end user to the terminal, you've lost 90% of people.
Yeah.
90%, bar none. So the fact that you say wine works, but if I have to go in terminal to make wine work, it doesn't work for the average person. And that was the point I was trying to make in that video.
Yeah.
Is Linux is a scary beast, and while 80% of it works just fine for the user interface, it's that 20% extra that Windows has that, as much as we make fun of Windows for not working, if I go to the new settings window in Windows, I can adjust every single piece of the operating system that I need to adjust, except for telemetry and ads in the start menu and update settings. But the thing is, there's a setting for everything in a graphical user interface. There's not that in Linux. It doesn't exist. It's not clean. It's not friendly. It's not easy to use. It's not intuitive. And until it gets there, it's not going to see mass adoption.
Yeah.
Wine is not going to see mass adoption. It's not going to see anything outside of the 1% of Linux enthusiasts. Sorry, 50% of Linux enthusiasts and 1% of PC enthusiasts. Yes, you're a small group. You're a very small group. Percentage-wise, you're a small group. God, I pissed off the rest of them now.
And they're all gone now.
They're all gone. There go the rest. There go the rest. You're a small group. And you're an enthusiastic group, I'll give you that, but you're a small group. And until you have mass appeal, until it is point, click, drag, drop, that is the essence of the Windows OS. And until you have that on Linux, you're not going to win mass appeal.
Right.
And until everything has that, you're not going to win mass appeal. Because it's like, oh, I can game over on this. I still have to edit video in Premiere or pretty much Premiere or Final Cut, and that's it.
Yeah.
DaVinci Resolve has made some great strides, and I really want to try DaVinci Resolve 15.
Yeah, that looks pretty great.
That was announced because it might be the first nonlinear editor that I can use on Linux that actually gets professional results, but it still didn't have full support for every codec. It still couldn't encode for MKV for YouTube in 4K, which is kind of baseline of my business here. So there's a couple things still missing, but it's much better than it has been in the past. But again, in the past, it's been like, well, you can game on Linux, you can do this on Linux, you can edit photos on Linux. Bullcrap. GIMP is not a professional photo editor. You can do video editing. Bullcrap. Open Video Source is not a professional video editor. They don't exist. They're not there. Stop trying to pat yourselves on the back and get Adobe to get on board and get Steam to get on board and get these other professional products on board so you'll actually see adoption and it'll actually grow.
Right. See, and my whole thing with Linux is, I admire the people that are dedicated to it and all that.
I'm so triggered and I don't even know why. Perfect.
D is on point, yeah. I don't know a single Linux user personally who doesn't dual boot. Mm-hmm. It's like... Because you still have to exist in real life and use your computer for things like you're saying.
I'm still hung up on knocking out toddlers. I don't know why I went there. I don't know. It was a great analogy, but I don't know why we're there.
Don't ask me.
Like Scott Adams once said, like a dead nun in a snowbank.
That's horrible. Oh no. Yeah. I don't know. Kudos for Valve for giving it a go. But yeah, and who knows if Linux users really care about mass adoptability. I don't think that they do or care, but
they don't care. They want to be the 1%, and they're going to stay the 1% so long as they keep gatekeeping the 99%.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I'm surprised that Valve even tried.
Right.
But kudos to them. It's not like they're capturing a freaking gigantic market.
Now, I will say it's not like my video went live 3 months ago and all of a sudden they have Windows compatibility. They've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah.
Because this is the overall mission of SteamOS, was to gain mass adoption of Linux as an operating system so they could no longer rely on Windows and the Windows Store and everything else that comes with that.
Yep.
So this is the first step of that. And Valve, I applaud you for trying to strike this path. I think it's admirable that you're going this way.
I think so.
I hope it works.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So.
All right. Well, we're kind of up against the clock.
Getting up against the clock. We got 6 minutes left officially. Let's see. We got 2 left on the cutting room floor.
And they're lightweight. So.
They're lightweights. Although one of them's Star Trek related.
Yeah, okay, so they're not so lightweight.
So strap in, we're going for another
I
hour.
see Star Trek and I'm like, I've talked about Star Trek so much, there's just no way. But this
we say that every time.
I know. Maybe we can set the new precedent tonight.
Yeah, by the way, the general rule of thumb for my channel is if Star Trek is in the title, it goes last and you're going to talk for a half hour. Mm-hmm. Because I'll trigger John, or I'll trigger Steve, or I'll trigger Rhett, and they'll trigger me in response, and I'll trigger half the audience, and we can't stop until this is resolved.
I love it. I love it. So this next story, this is a fun one, and was first brought to my attention from my Alexa flash briefing the other morning. So congressman... And I don't know how political I should get with it. Maybe I should avoid
a lot of the political. Avoid right versus left is what I would say. You can smear congressmen as a whole or the political system as a whole. Keep it light.
I won't name anybody in particular.
There you go. Avoid names and avoid singling people out.
Well, this congressman is the son of another congressman.
Yes, he is.
Same name.
Yes.
And he. Misspent? I don't know if he misspent it. I think it seems like to me...
Fraudulently spent now that he's pleaded guilty to the charges. I think you can pretty plainly...
No misspending.
Pretty plainly say.
He spent it, and it was fraudulent. And he spent thousands of dollars on personal stuff, but my favorite... $250,000 on personal stuff, which included...
Let's just round up for the sake of rounding up. $250,000.
And he did eating out, going to the movies, events, things like that.
Trips, vacations, no cars, which was kind of shocking to see.
Very shocking.
But pretty much everything else that you can indulge yourself in modern society, he indulged in. Yeah. Including $1,528.68 in games on Steam.
Which is my favorite bit of this story. I wish that they, I don't know if they did. Maybe they did. I'm going to scroll down. I wish that, Valve or somebody would come out and just be like, and by the way, here's the list of games he bought. And it's all of,
I wish they would, but they still have to protect his privacy, even though it's all public record now.
I wish he would come out and be like, you know what, I did it. It's too late. Yeah. Here's the list of games I bought, and it's the worst games. All of those live book.
Now, what the records say is there were $1,302 in money earmarked for the campaign that can get Congressman Duncan Hunter, and it drew the attention of the Federal Election Commission. Now, supposedly, it was his teenage son who had access to his credit card, and accidentally spent.
Is it?
That's what it says.
Okay.
And I can only go on what it says.
You're right.
So, according to the court, what was pled, whatever, to the court was that they accidentally used the company credit card, the election campaign credit card. On their personal Steam account, and their teenage son bought a couple of games. And we weren't able to quickly block the site enough from making these purchases, and so it just racked up in it. But we're going to pay it all back, don't worry. That was his story. Okay, so number one, Steam don't work that way. Steam don't work that way, boss. Yeah. Steam works in, hey, would you like to buy Mass Effect
3?
Not even 3. You can't buy 3. Oh. Would you like to buy Far Cry 5? Yes, I would. Okay, that'll be $70. Would you like to buy this? Well, yes, I would. Okay, that'll be this. Would you like to buy Sniper Elite 4? Well, yes, I would. Okay, that'll be this.
Would you like to buy this game with all of these extra DLCs and downloadable...
And it wasn't on one occasion that he spent $1,302. It was from October 13th to December 16th, and $96 spent in one instance, probably on all the DLC available for... Well, he didn't buy Train Simulator, I know that. But $96 in one instance to a total of $1,302. And as they give him the benefit of the doubt, managing your various payment methods on Steam can be a little difficult, but that's a long time for a parent to utterly fail at closing access to a website. As if Steam was charging them, not they were charging a credit card on Steam's behalf.
Yeah, I know. And, I think that, not that this isn't a big story, but it's just fun to make fun of this guy at this point. Of course, at the bottom of the article, you'll notice, that this gentleman in particular, he's
already got a name for himself.
Yeah, he notoriously
making waves.
He notoriously vaped on the House floor during a debate on banning vaping on planes.
Yes.
And he looks like such a pompous person.
And he looks like a guy that would vape.
Doesn't he, though? Vape Nash. Look at that picture. He's saying Vape Nash right in that picture.
Yeah, he's mid-sentence.
He's like watching H3 videos, and he's like, Vape Nash!
He's like the fraternity bro who has 20 hashtags at the end of his 2-word tweet.
Yeah, absolutely. What's more is his pretty strong indictment, 47 pages, which I guess is pretty large indictment.
It's a pretty lengthy indictment.
And of course, his dad came to his rescue. I listened to that on my flash briefing from Alexa.
Well, he didn't mean to, and he got confused.
And I think that this is his political opponents trying to overly politicize a non-political thing.
And what I say is, let's start looking into Dad's spending of
That's
contribution
kind of what
funds.
I thought too.
Because if Dad is defending this crap, Son wasn't the only one doing it.
Apple don't fall from...
Yeah,
You
no,
heard
you're
it.
right. You're right. Keep going from the tree.
Apple don't far fall from the tree.
That's right. Roll Tide.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we're not going to make it any more political than that.
Yeah.
But this is a funny story. I had fun reading that, so... Nice, brah!
Vape Nash. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. A Subaru owner?
If you're going to accidentally...
I would say he's a Hyundai Veloster.
This guy
owner.
doesn't...
Hyundai Veloster.
I was going to say... yeah, he doesn't look like a Subaru owner, but... yeah, a Hyundai Veloster.
He doesn't fit what I would think of the typical Subaru owner to drive.
Well, you know who saved Subaru?
I know, and you don't have to say.
I'm not John.
You don't have to go any further.
I'm just gonna say that's.
I'll just say he doesn't seem like the typical Subaru owner.
Hey, Subaru, we're built this way.
You make a good car. Oh, and by the way, Good Old Games got in on the action.
I clicked on this link without even realizing what it is.
Not sure if we should be offended or happy he didn't spend the money on Good Old Games.
Cheers to you guys for having a good sense of humor about it. Fires a support team flair. Absolutely. I'm a little bummed they didn't either. I mean, DRM free. I mean, well, maybe they didn't have to spend the money. Maybe that's where he went wrong, right? He just hopped on Pirate Bay.
How did I not get the next? There should be a link to the actual.
This is it, man.
No, there's one more. That's the actual webpage.
Oh.
Maybe not. Anyway, Star Trek news.
Stage 9 website?
Yeah, Stage 9 website.
I found it.
Star Trek news. You ready for this? There you go. So, there's been a couple of projects in the past. I remember exploring the Enterprise Bridge and engineering with my DK1 and DK2 headsets. But there is a group called Stage 9 that is doing a complete virtual tour of the Enterprise D in VR. And I'm totally going to download this and try it literally as soon as we're off air because I found this story today.
Nice.
So
I was going to say, it wasn't on here when I was looking about 6 hours ago.
Right. No, I found this probably about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And put it on there, just a little tidbit at the end. Because, who doesn't want to see the Enterprise in VR?
I know.
So I have played Star Trek Bridge Crew, the Next Generation DLC, and as soon as I saw the Enterprise, they do a glorious cinematic intro for it because you live the Next Generation credit sequence. Where you go through the galaxy and it fades into the moon and you got the comet and you're going around the rings of Saturn and then you cross the rings of Saturn and then there she is. Hello, beautiful. Right. So there's that whole intro that you see in VR for the first time and it's freaking beautiful. And then when you sit on the bridge of the Enterprise D in the captain's chair and you're like, yes. it's just a magical time for a nerd from the 90s like I am.
You know, I wish we had the means, because wouldn't it be so fun to do a craft computing like Bridge Crew?
Reverend needs to go change his pants. You do that, my friend.
We'll be here.
I did as well. Meanwhile, the Hyundai Accent has a single cup holder.
Okay.
Spend all your time in the turbo lift. Yeah. But can you crawl in the Jeffries tubes? So far...
Do you think that they have that spot in that episode with the perfect acoustics where he plays his flute with that lady in the rollout piano?
Oh, God, I hope so.
Wouldn't that be great?
Oh. I want to lie naked on the floor of 10 forward. Just...
But see, the problem is Synthahol never leaves you out of control. So.
Oh, I got Guinan's private stash.
Oh, come on.
We're going straight for the Romulan ale, my friend. Or what is that, the Traxian whiskey?
The Traxian whiskey. Or what's, I always try to remember the name of the wine that his brother...
Andorian, isn't it?
What his brother introduces on Family, in the episode Family. Is it Andorian? I don't think
it's
so.
It's not Andorian, it's
but
something
it's like,
else.
And he's like, what is this? The 76? He's like, 74.
Yeah.
That synthahol swill is dulling your senses.
Your senses, old man. Yeah.
And he's like, quite the contrary. I think it sharpens my appreciation for the real thing.
Yeah. So, will you be able to crawl through the Jeffries tubes? Not yet, but are you ready for this list?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Main bridge.
Excellent.
Ready room conference table.
Even better.
Observation lounge.
Absolutely.
9 and 10 forward.
Great.
So, by the way, there's 2 decks, if you didn't know that. Guinan's lounge was 10 forward. There's another lounge called 9 forward.
Which, when do they ever name that in the show?
Once.
Once? Okay.
I believe.
I was going to say. Because I remember, people talking about this all the time.
I'm not done with the list. Battle Bridge.
Excellent.
Sick Bay.
Perfect.
Dr. Crusher's office.
Of course.
Picard's quarters. Worf's quarters. Data's quarters. I hope Spot is there.
Yeah.
I hope Spot's there.
And he's got his little workstation.
Holodecks.
Great.
Transporter room.
Great.
Sick Bay, or Shuttle Bays, Main 1 and Shuttle Bay 2. Stellar Cartography.
Of course. They've been hogging all of the main sensor array time.
That's right. By the way, Shuttle Bay 1 was only ever seen a couple of times. Most of the time it took place in Shuttle Bay 2, mainly because Shuttle Bay 2 was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to have the full stage and the green screen and everything else.
Shuttle Bay 2 is where Worf lost control of his legs.
That's true. Stellar Cartography.
Of course.
Hell yes.
Where his girlfriend was from with the piano.
That's right. Corridors on mini decks, and more to come shortly.
We can get all of the angles of Data's dreams.
And by the way, there are quality settings in this game, and you can configure as suits you best. Lower computers such as an i3 or Celeron or Core 2 Duo will be able to play Stage 9 as well as on the lowest graphics settings, and you only need a GTX 600 series or higher to view this.
Disqualifies me, but...
Not by much. But if you have a Lenovo Explorer or an Acer Windows Mixed Reality headset, you can play this on baseline hardware today.
So great. Do you think in the holodeck that you walk in, it's like, great, the holodeck, it's down for maintenance. Okay, I'll come back next week. Or you walk in and you're like, computer, run Worf training program.
So stop there, because mine might go off.
Oh, so sorry. I changed my Alexa name to computer, so it's been kind of fun to
Perfect.
But yeah, do you think that you'll be able to see some fun things on the holodeck? Wouldn't it be fun if they make this game, this experience, and then the holodeck is its own complete, fully fleshed out, developed experience where you can run 100 different programs?
I doubt it. I think it's just the holodeck proper. I think it's just the green grid.
What they should do is the holodeck should be a launch for any of your Steam games with your VR games.
Wait. So my Steam lobby in VR is the holodeck.
Wouldn't that... Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is.
That's the perfect use.
It totally is.
I was just thinking, what if you could go in and you see all your stuff and you're like, computer, I want to run the Fallout 4 program.
Computer, run super hot.
Yes! Oh my god! We need to get on the fun with the devs of this right now. No, because maybe they didn't think about this, Jeff.
They probably didn't.
This is...
Yep.
We need to help the world. This is our chance.
Inception Star Trek. Yeah, holodeck inside of a holodeck. VR in VR.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dr. Crusher's quarters? No, sorry, pervert. Sorry, Worf, Picard, and Data. Those are the three quarters they've done so far.
Those are the only ones you want to see anyways.
Okay, computer. No, it's...
I wouldn't mind... Do they have the
Hello, computer.
I wouldn't mind if they had the transporter room. Was that on there?
That wasn't on the list. I'm sure it's probably coming.
And then you could transport to other rooms.
Wouldn't
that be cool?
There you go. Yeah, buddy.
I need to call these guys.
Yep. So, got a GTX 670 for $10 Canadian. Holy crap. That's like 4 of our American dollars.
You and your play money.
The loony.
They have Elton John on the cover of their dollar bills.
That's right.
Just kidding. That was a horrible joke.
Anyway, 670 for $10. Hell yeah.
That's a great deal.
Super Hot. I don't like that game. How can you not like Super Hot? Again, I'm arguing taste here, but how can you not like Super Hot?
Super Hot's fun. I still recall my first time ever playing Super Hot. Jeff let me play it at his VR setup at Capital Tap Room.
Yep.
And I thought I had the game hacked by being able to just like move my hand back and forth and like get it to move.
Yep.
But I still couldn't get past the first level, so there you go.
Yep. Canadian pesos. His reference says. All right, guys. That has been a show. So someone at the beginning of the chat, one question that stuck with me was, how do you clean out a CPU socket? Now, I'm assuming you got, and you saw that one too.
I did.
I'm assuming you got thermal paste in your CPU socket. If it's an Intel socket, good luck to you, my friend. Because there's not a lot of good ways to get that out. One way you might try is literally dousing your board in isopropyl alcohol.
I was gonna say
essentially a high proof alcohol. You can get 70 at the store. You can get 80 or 90 or even 99 at some.
You're not gonna hurt your board if you just submerge it in alcohol either. So as long as, of course, we're talking this thing is unplugged and not running or anything. You submerge it in alcohol, maybe let it sit for a little bit. I'm not sure the exact method I would use if you got it right in the sockets, but
quite honestly, a pipette or some kind of a squeeze bottle that you could shoot alcohol into there and dislodge the rubbing alcohol or dislodge the thermal paste, because thermal paste is water soluble, but it will also dissolve in alcohol.
Yeah.
And so what I would say is get like a filling bottle for a water cooling setup with the angled top on it that you could squeeze and squirt it onto the socket. Use some rubbing alcohol. Yeah. Before you turn on your system again, let it fully dry for, I would say, 3 to 4 days.
That's the key right there. And alcohol, that's the beauty about alcohol is it evaporates very quickly. Right. But you want to err on the side of caution.
Yeah. If it's not conductive, just smoosh it till the CPU boots. That's one method.
Some here says brake cleaner ? I just want to squash that real quick because brake cleaner.
I'll go the other way. Brake cleaner can be used.
I don't know if I would use it just because it's highly.
It's very flammable. I'll say that. But again, same operating procedures apply. Make sure it's fully dried first. Now the problem with brake cleaner is it takes a long time to dry.
If it's controlled with brake cleaner, I would say a little like squeezer or whatever brake cleaner. It's probably not going to do too much.
It is a solvent. It will take a lot of it will take the thermal paste with it. The problem is it also will dissolve any thermal pads that you have on your VRMs and anything like that. So,
and I mean this could also damage if you drop it in the wrong place. It could damage other things.
Right.
Not saying that it's not I'm not saying that it's the worst idea ever. I'm just saying if you're not careful about it, you're going to run into some issues.
Right. There is a big name YouTuber who does use brake cleaner almost exclusively to clean out old PC components and make them look like new. Techia City does that quite a bit. There's a reason
it makes them look like new, though.
Right. It's an oil. It lubricates and cleans all at the same time, but he does it very carefully. And if you notice, he takes everything apart. He applies all new thermal compound to every single component on there. Unless you're willing to do that, and then unless you're willing to let it dry 100%, and unless you're willing to deal with a little bit of an oily finish on everything when you're done, brake cleaner is not the best.
Yeah.
With isopropyl alcohol, what you can do is shoot it under the CPU socket, break up a lot of that gunk in there, then take a heat gun on low settings, or even a hairdryer is what I like to use, and dry that out completely because it'll dry very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
and of course, I don't know. My toolkit always includes very, very fine point probes as well. You can kind of work some of that loose. Be careful again.
So someone said a toothbrush. I would not take a toothbrush to a CPU socket. AMD maybe, Intel no. In any pin gray or red, no. Any LGA socket, no. You're gonna damage something. Yeah. I don't care how careful you are. You can't control 1,000 bristles at the same time.
Right.
And they bend quite easily. Don't waste alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol. Whoa, Jack Daniels.
Yeah, we're not saying pour Jack Daniels.
I wasn't talking pour McAfee's benchmark into your system.
Yeah, save that for your cooling tubes.
Right. Someone said, could brake cleaner ruin the plastic around the socket? Long-term exposure, yes. Momentary, no.
See, and that's kind of exactly what I was thinking.
Right. Yeah, and again, like with my water cooling build, yes, long-term exposure to alcohol will ruin the O-rings inside the loop. Short-term exposure, no. I'm cool to test it.
I think, but even the deterioration you're going to get from using alcohol in that, it's long-term exposure again. Like, what time frame are we talking about with that?
A couple of minutes.
See, you're right. It's quite long. So
it's inconsequential.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. For it to start having an appreciable effect on alcohol or on gaskets or thermal material besides the thermal compound that you're trying to clean out of the socket, it's inconsequential.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, good luck to you.
Yep. So that's the one question I thought I'd get to.
Yeah.
I've literally done it with alcohol and splinters. Yeah, and I've done it with really fine point spudgers.
Yeah, spudgers are good. Yeah.
But again, you got to be real careful, especially around those Intel sockets. AMD socket, you could probably go at it with a toothbrush and some rubbing alcohol and get it perfectly clean. Intel, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, you just want to be careful.
Yep.
You risk kind of breaking some things. You ain't ever gonna get to work again. So.
Yep. So there you go.
Awesome.
I think that's.
This has been like the most distilled show I've done in months.
This has been a great show.
It's fun.
You like the new clock?
I do.
I like the new clock.
I like it. Although I'm gonna say it really, really hurts my OCD. And not that I'm really OCD.
But it's red right now.
Yeah, it's red, and I'm just like, we gotta go on.
We're over time. We gotta go on. Yeah.
So, I'll just try not to look at it when it's red.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, it's been a blast. Thank you all for listening. Go check out our Patreon.
Yep.
You haven't yet. We've got a few of these left. I don't know. Maybe they're already gone after tonight. Who knows?
I know I already got like 2 new ones since the stream started. 3, actually.
Perfect. So, what does that mean? There's 9 more?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 9 more or so. Rhett, can I send you a card? Yeah?
Sure.
Why not? Thank you. That's great. I'll hook up with you.
Yeah, Regan's on Discord.
I've seen you on Discord. I'll hook up with you there.
That's right. Roy, new to this channel, love it. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Roy. Hey, keep tuning back in, man. We got some great videos planned, and of course, weekly streams every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Right here on YouTube, and sometimes on Twitter if my ISP cooperates. Twitch.
I mean, we should develop some sort of like legit Twitter bot that's just like tweets like.
It does tweet when I go live.
Oh, nice.
So it does give a link to the YouTube stream when I go live.
Well, we got to get an even more advanced one that's just like takes the talking points. Oh my God! You can hook it up to your timer, and it just tweets out like the latest talking points that were on the headline.
Actually, that's my next goal: is to develop something that I can put all my headlines in, and then I can press a button on my keyboard or like an Elgato, the button box, whatever the hell it's called. I'm drawing a blank right now. But basically, I can press a hotkey somewhere that will automatically timestamp my video with the subjects we're talking about.
That'd be cool.
That's what I'm working on now.
And I mentioned it in our private chat with John and Steve, but it would be kind of cool to think of a way to do an Alexa flash briefing. And it's just like a daily little bite of news. Mm-hmm. And of course, it would have to be something that we kind of pre-plan out, right? You're not going to wake up every morning and be like, and today, blah, blah, blah. Like, you pre-plan it out a little bit.
Yeah, if you want me to do something in the morning, catch me after 8 o'clock because
even then,
I need coffee first. Me and mornings are not on speaking terms, as I put it in Discord earlier this week.
For me,
we don't get along.
I'm building up till about noon. Then
Stream
you got
Deck,
me.
thank you.
Oh, Stream Deck, perfect.
Elgato Stream Deck.
Yeah.
Corsair Stream Deck.
But it would be pretty cool to figure out a way to do that because then you can hop on your Alexa app and you can pre-customize your flash briefings. I got my NPR news, then I got some tech news, and then I got like History Channel tidbit.
And I've had a couple people ask me if I can start uploading this as a podcast stream.
Yeah.
And so if you're interested, I've only had one or two people do it, and that's probably not enough to influence me to go through uploading it to another service. But if you guys are interested in having this as a podcast, as an audio podcast, let me know down in the comments, and that's something I might start looking into.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love podcasts.
So we talk enough, and there's not a lot of visual on here.
No.
That I think it would work as a podcast.
We have less
well.
visual than Joe Rogan has on his, and Joe Rogan is the #1 podcast on the planet. So,
Very true.
So I think that we have a great basis. In fact, that's why we're all so comfortable on it, probably. So, things to look forward to. We're planning. We're having fun. Stay tuned for more PAX news coming up. Not this weekend, of course. But after next week's show, who's you're going to be your co-host?
John is going to be on next Wednesday, and that's going to be our pre-PAX show. And then Steve is going to join me for the post-PAX show on Wednesday. We may or may not live stream from PAX at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Saturday night we could do a PAX stream.
That'd be great.
Because I think our Saturday night is pretty much open. I know we've got
at
stuff
this
going.
Point, we're
at
hoping.
This point, yeah. We're hoping we don't have to stream. At this point, Saturday night's kind of open, or it's in the air at this point.
Yeah.
So there may be a live stream from PAX, maybe just from our hotel room, having a couple of drinks and talking about what we're seeing at the show floor. I'm hoping for 3, 4, 5, 6 videos to get out from there. Or more. Well,
I mean, the unfortunate thing is once you start doing too many, then you run into the problem where, then it's this immense workload afterwards.
Right, and nothing gets promoted either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, hopefully we get some good bits out of it. We're going to have fun. And again, follow us on Twitter if you haven't. I'm at Red is Awesome. He's at Craft Computing. Yep. And I plan on tweeting constant updates.
At Game Devs Quest. Don't sell yourself short.
Oh, and at Game Devs Quest. Absolutely. I plan on tweeting constant updates while we're there. Specifically because the Game Devs Quest crowd, they're looking forward to some of this game dev and gaming news. So tune into that if you want. Come join us on our on the Craft Computing Discord. You can do that. Join Patreon for $1 a month.
Get a bottle opener for the next week and a half.
We've got 9 left. 9 left, folks. For $1 a month, and you get first access. Or do they still get first access to videos? Is that a thing?
Sometimes it depends on my video schedule, and at the moment my schedule's been so tight that they get it at the same time. They get maybe one exclusive month where they get it 2 or 3 days early.
But regardless, you can come join the Discord, and we planned fun gaming sessions this Saturday. Yep. It sounded like the Discord played Fistful of Frags, or something like that. And had a blast doing it. So we're looking forward to doing more stuff like that with you guys. So, absolutely.
Very cool. Thank you guys so much for joining episode 46 of Talking Heads. It's been a blast, and we will see you next time.
Thanks all.
Bye, guys.